What up, fellow Douglets? Can I get a hype in Doug Nation?
Doug, can you play stimulation clicker from the same place as Infinite Craft? ITD really help chat focus. Also use these bits to buy water and stop the fire.
Stimulation craft. Yeah, no, there's a lot of fire.
It's a 2-year subscription.
That's cash in the trash.
Wait, what is a simulation clicker? Click me. One stimulation. Oh my god, it's just that's awesome. This dude is so creative. Oh. I'm so impressed by everything this dude makes. Hello, chat. Welcome to another episode of Doug. I am excited to tell you all about copyright. I know that sounds boring, but I'm really excited for it, and I'm literally copying Marketing Monday.
Please give it to the rats, etc., etc.
The fucking rats chewed through my water pipe, and now I can't use my sink. And then, you know what is it's a really good time to have a giant problem with rats is when there's massive fires in Los Angeles and you can't get anybody to come help you. It's awesome. Way woo, way woo, way woo, way woo. W rats. Is it a dub for the rats that they're chewing through my pipes for no reason? There isn't even food in there.
By the DVD thing.
There you go. Get up 2. Add tab
I keep
title.
clicking on the click me button and nothing is happening. Can you fix that, please?
Working on it. See your stimulation per second. This is God. This guy is so creative. It's
you
amazing.
You must have delicious pipes.
Oh, it's 1 stimulation per bound. God.
You just subbed
anyway,
for 3 years. That's a 60.
Doug, why is Jerma screwing up your plumbing?
Oh. He gets in every couple days. I open the cabinet. I see Jerma scurrying away before I can get him.
Douglas
wow,
Redden.
I'm really tired
More
now.
like Douglas Red. That's all right. By Doug, I love you.
Fucking got me. Anyway, I'm gonna wait for people to get in, and then we'll start the presentation. You're gonna learn stuff today. It's gonna be great.
Hey Doug, instead of buying an ad for Ludwig's channels, why not just buy out an ad space on the ad?
But that's funny too. It's funny to do it on Ludwig's channel though. Anyway, hello.
Just use your mug as a replacement for your sink.
I guess I could. It can hold up to 32 liters of fluid. It's been a mentally exhausting few days.
I want to ask this now before we get deep into stream. Will you be watching the Peggle run tomorrow night?
Oh, yes. I will try to do that, yeah. I don't think I'm streaming tomorrow, so I will actually be able to. I've always wanted to learn stuff. You're going to learn so much. In all seriousness,
Doug, I hope you and your loved ones are all right and staying safe.
You know, we're good. I have a few family members who are burnt to a crisp, but otherwise we're fine. No, I am actually fine.
I clicked your
Pretty much
stream,
everybody in LA has had to deal with a bunch of shit,
Twitch,
but
had to watch another
I'm okay.
ad, and then reloaded the page and watched another ad. Please enjoy my money, Doug.
Thank you, Pepsi, please. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I'm not going to tell you, where I am or what exactly has been going on, but it's
Buy
fucking
an ad
wild.
space on his yard.
Yeah, LA. For people who are not aware, LA is like on fire, and it's pretty crazy. So there's been a bunch of shit to deal with, and the air quality is very bad, and it's probably not been helping with and other thing. Anyway, power outages and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, fortunately, it seems like I'm okay, and doesn't. Yeah. If I do burn to a crisp during the stream today, that's why. It's not for a different reason. Anyway, again, we'll give it like 5 or 10 minutes
fire
before.
Victims should share their donated money with you. All right, by Doug, I love you.
yeah, that's. Are the rats okay? I literally was annoyed because the rats are probably excited to have my kitchen as shelter. The goddamn rats. So I strongly dislike rats.
To serve our international viewers, this donation has been translated into Spanish.
Wait, how much
Gerald Ford realmente tiene una mención en un videojuego, and Metal Gear Solid VN las Assault 2 a las 14:38 en el video de la biblioteca de contenido. Revolver Ocelot menciona a Gerald Ford. Gerald Ford es confirmado como el gran jefe.
Como el grande jefe? Sugoi! Yeah, my cough has not been getting better, and I think that's because of the fires.
My mind. They announced a direct for the new Like a Dragon game, but there was a typo in the announcement calling it the Ica Dragon Direct, and my first thought was you just said Ike. Dumbass from the Smash Brothers video.
Fucking got him, dude. Alright. Gerald Ford's son
Doug,
gave a
we
speech
know
at
you
Jimmy Carter's
started the
funeral.
fire to try to be
God
the
bless
gamer of the year.
America.
Now we can say you're a flaming homosexual, etc., etc.
Parkser and I did drive into the fire. Not into the fire. We drove at it. We wanted to
And
see it.
Parkser deal with the rats. You should have let him get the first one. Now they know they have the power.
Yeah, I'm really, dude, I so strongly dislike rats. I cannot communicate enough to you how much I dislike them.
Are you doing war crimes again?
Not yet. Okay, real quick, we do need to, so the goal
To serve
of
our
today,
international
just to be clear,
viewers,
we'll kick
this
it off in a
donation
sec.
has been translated into Spanish. Lo siento sobre las biblioteca, mi biblioteca, 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 biblioteca.
That's not... I thought I told it to say, replace one word with biblioteca. Thank you for dropping the diss track. Yeah, the neuro video's out today. It's really good. That stream was so fucking fun. What was I gonna do a second ago? Oh, okay. Just a heads up. So we'll give it a little more time for people to trickle on in, a little trickle down economics into my stream, trickle in from the other streamers or whatever. But the goal of today is to steal all of Atrioch's viewers. Okay, Atrioch, if you're not aware, has a very great series called Marketing Monday, and he talks about news and does these presentations, and they're great. Okay, I'll just search Atrioch. That apparently doesn't come up. So my goal today is to steal everything from him. And we have to, like, perfectly take the format. I made a PowerPoint and everything. It's gonna be great. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Marketing Monday, an emergency Marketing Monday. I have a very special message for you.
Okay, so it's just, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Marketing Monday. But I'm calling this Techno Tuesday. What's the most techno song I have? That way, like, we'll steal... Maybe we should call it Techno Mondays.
And here's my $3 for a seat. Did the rats also start the fire?
I don't think so,
etc.
but they could have. Mods, ban anybody who says it's Thursday.
Are you enough of a freak to run with the thick smoke outside? Whose internet are you stealing to make this stream happen?
I want to run outside, and I don't know if I should. In fact, I know that I shouldn't, but, so I probably won't.
If I were a rat, I would invade your kitchen. Just putting that out there.
Hey, I'm very invadable. That's what makes me the candidate for Gamer of the Year 2025. Alright.
Strongly dislike rat. Okay, I'll show myself out. Bye, Doug. I loved you.
Sorry.
Doug salute.
You shouldn't have chewed through my pipes, bro. Submissive and invadable.
Hey, Doug. I hope you are okay. How soon is too soon to make fire jokes? Anyway, chat.
I mean, I'm
Doug's
fine.
house burnt down and is streaming from a cardboard box. Please donate all you can.
Yeah, don't do that. No, I mean, it's, again, I'm fine. The people I know are fine. I've had a few friends of mine have had to actually evacuate, which is a little scary, but it seems like everything is okay, at least for people I know. But there are people who are, like, straight up losing homes. Yeah, it's bad, man. It's real bad. Okay, I don't know. Are people here? Are you here? Do we have people? It says 5,000 people. I feel like we just start and say fuck it, right?
Do not show up to stream usually, but heard you're doing copyright law, and now I'm here listening to a gay man teaching copyright law.
I'm not gay, and we haven't talked about copyright law yet, so I think you're talking about a different stream, and now you should turn on this one.
Hey,
Where a
Doug,
straight man is
was
looking at
the state
DVD
of emergency
logos.
declared? Can we please evacuate the basement? The coal mines down here are
No.
very flammable.
Hot air rises. You want to be in the basement to stay
You
safe.
just subbed for 3
Don't
years.
say
That's
that.
a
It's bad for the
$60
campaign.
value. All
Who is more annoying, drunk Ludwig or you?
Oh, drunk Ludwig for sure. But he's very funny. He's a fun drunk.
Ladies
He's
and
funnier
gentlemen,
and more
alright, by
annoying
Doug, I love
simultaneously.
you.
Thank you, Pixelationist. Hello. But smoke sinks, Doug. No, I think I know what I'm talking about. I took stats in
Hi,
college.
chat. I'm happy to report that the brick-and-mortar Prince of Venice restaurant is safe and operating normally despite the fires.
Okay, hold on. I am going to mute text-to-speech during my presentation. So, I recommend not giving me money because it won't yell out loud at me.
Timeline,
It will just be
breaking
quiet.
news, Twitch streamer
It'll be
and
boring
bald
money.
communist YouTuber Duke Dug dead, when during a stream his house was destroyed in an explosion caused by the fire reaching his vast reserve of olive oil.
That's olive oil? It doesn't, like, burst out into flames, I don't think. Maybe it does.
If you have a strong distaste for rats, I am incredibly shocked you even had the will to play World of Warcraft hardcore. Rats as far as the eye can see.
What do you mean, gnomes? Or do you mean rat players?
Hi Doug, did you
not
hear the
keyed enough.
Superior Rhinuro Summer got the hype train record?
Yeah, that's wild.
I hadn't heard of her until the collab. Thanks to you I got the super rare hype train emote.
Let's go! Yeah, dude, Neuro and Beetle are really great. Alright, okay.
Average Texas day.
Once the Texas beach gets to 5, we're sending it, okay? That doesn't mean donate.
Doug,
That means-
put your earmuffs on /. Chat, you blame the rats. We got away with it.
I earmuffed. Don't worry. I didn't hear a thing. Alright. It does at very high temperatures. Oh, I did not.
If Doug's house burns, does it mean our food will finally be cooked?
No, you're eating it raw in the basement. Alright, I'm gonna mute it. 2 more Texas beaches, and then we're muting.
Hey Doug, I'm a rat, and what you said about rats hurt my feelings. Can you apologize to all the rats?
No. Absolutely not. Okay, wait, hold on.
Rats.
This is important.
I was rats once. They locked me in a rat.
No.
A rubber rat. A rubber rats with room.
Alright, text speech are muted. It's not a scam. I've told you this clearly. It's visible down at the bottom. You can see that... You see? I didn't scam you, Funky Drunk. I told you, and it says that there's a red line over it, so that you know that you're going to be scammed. You can't sign up for a scam and then be upset. I don't think that's correct for fire. Is that for fire? Oh, that is for fire. Okay. We're gonna start the lovely presentation. Fanfiction shipping rats. Yeah. All right. What does everybody say in his chat?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Mark.
They're all saying Poggy's me. Why do they say that? Thank you, MSFL. Happy birthday. I hope it's great. What does that mean? Why do they say that? You're just saying it. I mean, this will really make us... That means our coal mine is safe, Eliza. Okay. He has a timer on screen before he starts. But why does that mean me? Why do people spam me as a result? I don't understand that. Because the chat is on stream as a YouTube video. Wait. It's the intro stream only. Okay, I'm so confused. All right, whatever. So we have to steal this from Atrioc. Okay, so I actually legitimately, or hold on, let me combine our things over. Where's my actual presentation? All right, spoiler alert, don't look at that. I legitimately am really interested in the subject. I want to talk about copyright law. And I am actually kind of genuinely copying Marketing Monday, which is the idea of talking about news things. But anyway, I made a little presentation. We're going to talk about it, which I'm excited about. So we do need to copy the format. So okay, so everybody get ready. Don't hold right now. Hold. Let's just get the format ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Marketing Monday, an emergency Marketing Monday.
Okay, and I'll have to say welcome back to Techno Tuesday, even though this has never happened.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Hold. We got to get ready. Pause, champ.
welcome back to Marketing Monday, an emergency Marketing Monday.
Do I say an emergency Techno Tuesday? I don't know what that means. Saying welcome back to a show that hasn't existed before and this is an emergency episode is very funny.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Okay.
welcome back to
When do you
Marketing
guys
Monday,
stop
an
saying
emergency
me?
Marketing Monday. I have a very special read, and his name is in financial marketing called Max Field. Wait a minute, what the hell are we doing?
Okay, and then people are saying hi YouTube after that. All right, so you start with Poggy's me, then you swap to hi YouTube, and then you can just actually comment on what's happening. Okay. Sorry, I might be coughing a lot because of this fire. Let me get a little water. Thank you, Mr. Fluote. Thank you for calling me bald. No, you're out of order. Okay, so this is on a serious note. I've been like, I'm probably going to be doing some kind of general exploring content in projects that's like talking more about tech and businessy type stuff in a serious way, because I'm passionate about that stuff. So for another project, I was researching AI copyright law and thought it was really interesting. And so I want to talk about it. We haven't started YouTube yet. This isn't the YouTube intro. I'll probably throw this on the second channel or something. But, okay, ready, set. Wait, do we start now? How do I, shit, do I count it down? Hold on. This is a good intro song. What's a good intro for, guys, hold on. We are, no, not yet. I second YouTube. Yeah, that works. What song should I play to capture his audience and take them for myself? Is this good enough? This is a Sonic song. It's pretty good. We also have Astrobot. Astrobot would be pretty sick. That's Game of the Year. Storyteller. That's too loud. I'm literally going to be talking about copyright. God, Shattering Star. Today, we're discussing copyright. That's so over the top. Okay, at some point I'll play Storyteller. I don't know why that would be relevant at all, but that's fine. All right, I'm gonna play Astro. What, Astro? Okay, this one's great. All right, everybody ready? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Techno Tuesday, an emergency episode of Techno Tuesday, because I just found out that AI can make a bunch of images. I don't know if you've noticed this. For real, all over the internet, right? Everybody's making a shitload of AI image. Shit, we got to start over. That's going to get the VOD muted. All right, hold on. Reset. Everybody reset. Get back to hold. Get back to pause champ, all right? I can't swear in the first, 15 seconds or we get demonetized. You have to say, bye, YouTube. We're leaving, okay? How's that? Was that good? Did you guys feel like you were learning something? Get with the program. All right. Barry, you're my creative director. Give me direction. Give me my motivation. Atrioc normally fucks it up first try, so that's good. Okay, perfect. I watch a shitload of Atrioc. I watch all of the Marketing Mondays on YouTube. I just don't generally watch them live. In fact, at this point, I intentionally don't watch them live so I can watch them fresh on YouTube. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, I need to turn off the sounds. we gotta turn sounds off. Guys, how am I gonna become a famous news guy if you're making noises and shit? This is inaccessible. Unacceptable. I'll turn them off once we get to question and answer section. You need an Enron hat. Yeah, unfortunately I don't have one. Barry said yell more, so I tried yelling and it didn't help. All right. We're going. Oh shit, what is my motivation? What's my opening line? I don't know. This is weird. It's going to take 50 takes at this rate. I've done it twice. Be sure to laugh at your own jokes. Okay. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Techno Tuesday, an emergency episode of Techno Tuesday, because we need to discuss AI copyrighted images. Obviously, AI has been all over the internet the past few years, and recently the AI images and videos are getting insane. All right, we've all seen DALL-E and Midjourney and all that stuff, right? Everybody's seen AI. A lot of people are upset at AI, and now it's getting even crazier, right? So this is Midjourney, which makes all these AI images. You've probably heard of it, maybe. This is DALL-E. And then if you haven't heard of Sora, this is the new video generator from OpenAI. And it's crazy. This came out, I think, a few weeks ago, and it's really, really high quality. And it's actually even worse compared to the new stuff that YouTube is putting out, which is even higher quality. So, if you somehow haven't noticed any of this stuff happening over the last few years, AI image generation is getting really, 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 really good. And AI video generation is getting crazy good, and it's going to be insane. So you might have seen any of this and wondered, who owns this? Like, okay, this person made a bird on a Buddha statue. Who owns that? Okay, like if a person goes into Sora or Midjourney or whatever and says, make me a video with a bird on a Buddha statue, does that person get the rights? Does the AI company own it? Does the person who owned all the original, like made all the original training data own it? Does Twitch chat own it? Who owns it, right? This is actually kind of confusing. Wait, and this matters a lot. What are people going to start using AI stuff for, like video games and books and their job? Like,
You just
subbed
for 3 years. That's a $60
Thank you, Bleeder.
value, all for only $14.99.
So straight up, okay, this stuff is getting crazy and crazier. Who owns all this? Can you copyright it? That's what we're going to answer today. And it turns out it's actually a very interesting story. Like, we have all these legal cases that have gotten us to this point. I think you're going to find it fascinating, okay? Oops, I went to... wait. All right, introducing my presentation that I made this morning called Can You Copyright AI Images? Let me blare loud music. No, that's too dramatic. No, what's like a chill ass song? I don't know, man. I didn't think about this. Oh, shit. Okay, sure. Fuck it. Damon X Machina. Yeah, Mario Odyssey is the classic. I'm going Mario Odyssey, like every other streamer. All right. So when you go to ChatGPT and you say, make me an image, who actually owns that? That's the question. As a reminder, when we're talking about ownership, we're talking about copyright. If you don't know what copyright is, it gives you the rights to something you made. We're mostly talking about the US here. Here are the rules for the US. It can change a little bit. But basically, if you make anything, you automatically get copyright over it. You don't have to do anything. If I go make a painting in my garage right now, I get copyright of it. Now, you can go register it with the Copyright Office of the United States and make it all official, and you need to do that if you want to sue somebody. But if you just make a thing, you have the rights to it automatically. These messages you're writing right now, you have the rights to them. Congratulations, chat. You actually might not, because it's in Twitch. Twitch might have the rights. And it doesn't protect, like, an idea. You have to turn it into a tangible thing. But if you do that, you have a copyright, just straight up, automatically. And what's great about that is you have the rights to it. You have the rights to decide what it's used for and whether it's sold and it's reproduced and all that stuff, right? This is a fundamental thing about creativity and making stuff. You get copyrights of things that you make. So what I want to do is play a little game. We're going to play a game called Can You Copyright? I'm going to give you guys a series of scenarios, and we're going to see, can you even figure out whether a thing is copyrightable or not? Again, I just told you that if you make a thing, you can copyright it, straight up. So this should be easy, right? This should be very simple, straightforward question. Let's go on with it. All right, question number 1, chat. You propose to your girlfriend at the beach. Congratulations. You go to the beach, and you set up this beautiful landscape in the background. You get everything ready. You're putting your phone there. You and your girlfriend are there. You're gonna sit down with the ring, and then, oh crap, somebody's dog runs over and steps on your phone, and the phone takes the picture of you and your girlfriend. Who owns the picture? Can you copyright the picture? What do you think? Chat made this stream, so chat owns it. Do I get it? I mean, it's my phone, and I set up everything. Right? Do I get it? Well, a lot of people guessed it. No. The dog gets it. So, whoever creates something is the one who gets the copyright. It doesn't matter that I set up all the stuff. The dog made the picture. Congratulations to the dog. You now have the copyright of my wedding photo. Except dogs can't have copyright. Turns out the Copyright Office of the U.S. says that only humans can own copyright. So I'm sorry, Chester, you don't get to have the copyright at all. Actually, nobody gets the copyright. This music is frenetic. That's fine. All right, so there's a famous case for this that you quite possibly have heard of, where there was this guy named David Slater who went to Indonesia and he talked to a bunch of monkeys and he put out cameras in a way that he like wanted to get the monkeys to take cool pictures of themselves by pulling a rope or whatever. And he got a monkey to take a selfie. And it's this amazing photo, right? This incredible photo. But the monkey took the photo. And so what happened is he took this photo and he was like, this is mine. He started licensing it to stuff, and Wikipedia started using it. Like, other companies started using it for things. And he was like, no, hold on. That's my monkey photo. I took that. And they went to court over it. And the Copyright Office ruled that, no, we only do copyrights for humans. You gotta be a human to copyright. The monkey took the photo. David was trying to say, look, I set it all up. I did the hard work. He just took it. But like, I did so much here. And they're saying, no. It doesn't matter that you put in a lot of effort. That's the monkey's photo. And because it's the monkey's photo, it means it's not anybody's photo. Later, PETA sued him to try to say that the monkey should get ownership and not him, right? Like, actually, the monkey should get ownership. But again, the Copyright Office was like, no, PETA, no, humans can only have copyright. Monkeys can't have copyright. So unfortunately, this monkey did not get ownership of his photo. So this is pretty interesting, right? It establishes it's got to be a human that makes it. There's very clear precedent around that. All right, so great job. You did great. Let's go to question number 2. I need some fancy music for this one. Let's say you go to a fancy museum, and there's a fancy dog painting in the museum. Wow, beautiful. You say, that is an incredible painting. And you've been training as a classical painter. And so you paint a perfect replica of this dog painting. Absolutely perfect. And this is like, you have been training as a painter for like a decade to be able to do this, right? Like, you nail this thing. You make this incredible, perfect recreation of it on paint. Can you copyright your painting? What do you think? The painting you just made, who owns it? Is it you? The painter. You're the painter. You painted it. But the original painter, let's call him Ludwig von Dog. Okay, the original painter. Let's assume this was painted 100 years ago, right? So this dude has been, or 200 years ago. This dude's been dead for a long time. Yeah, sorry. This is in the public domain, okay? This was made by Public von Dog hundreds of years ago. This is in the public domain, okay? So there isn't a person who's gonna go around and be like, hey, you took my painting. No. Ludwig von Dog has been dead for like 200 years, okay? So it's in public domain. You go over and you paint a perfect replica of it. Can you copyright it? The dog still owns it. Yeah. Okay. The answer is I need a new song. This song is too this music's too frenetic. Oh well. No. And here's why. You need to add creativity for something to be copyrighted. You can't just like put in a lot of work. That's not enough. You have to actually have creative expression and make a new thing for the US to be like, yes, you have the copyright, you own that thing. So this came from a case called Bridgman Art Library versus Corel Corp. Bridgman Art Library went to a museum, and there was a bunch of public domain photos, right? And they went there and took photographs of the paintings and made these like really beautiful photographs that were basically trying to perfectly replicate these like museum paintings. And then Corel Corp came along and they were like, oh, cool, some paintings. Again, the paintings are in the public domain because they're super old. They started using the photos of the public domain painting, and Bridgman Art Library was like, hey, those are our pictures. We took those. And the court basically said, no, you just recreated this thing perfectly. That doesn't count. You have to add actual creativity. And a key part of this was basically the court saying, like, look, it doesn't matter that you guys went in there and you set up the lighting and you took a nice photo and you did all this stuff. That's not enough. You have to actually add original stuff. So again, they reinforce this idea of like, it's not enough to just put in a lot of work. That doesn't mean you own the copyright to a thing. You got to do more than that. Okay. So let's move on to question number 3. And this is a big one. You play Nintendogs for the Nintendo DS. And then you record funny commentary and editing for it. Wow, Puggies! You make an amazing YouTube video of you playing Nintendogs. And you have all these funny jokes and edits, and you put Subway Surfers in there, and you play the Vine Boom sound effect. Okay. Can you copyright it? Can you copyright your video? So Nintendo owns Nintendogs. You made the video. Can you copyright it? Nintendo owns it. Does Nintendo own your video? It's transformative. Okay, some people are saying it's because it's transformative. Like it's fair use. The answer is, kinda. So, you can't copyright anything that involves Nintendogs because that's not yours. What you're making is called a derivative. So you're making a product that is based on another copyrighted work. You can't copyright any of the stuff that came from Nintendogs. You don't own that. It depends on how Nintendo feels that day. Kind of. But what's cool is you can copyright the parts you created. And what that means is the funny jokes that you said and the editing you did, you can copyright that portion. It just can't include Nintendogs at all. It's kind of like how we put out a video last year of my Pajama Sam playthrough, but had no Pajama Sam. That's totally legal, and I can copyright that. But you can't actually copyright all the other stuff. So if I go play Skyrim, I can copyright the expression of my Skyrim videos, but none of the actual game. So, and this is often considered an unpublished literary work, because without the game, there's nothing even there. But I can copyright all that stuff, and it's very cinematic. What's going on? I fucking love transform. Okay. What's this? An actual lesson? Dude, I'm gonna be honest. I was like looking through all this stuff because I was just researching copyright, and I was like, this is fascinating. This is so interesting. So, and it builds up. This all builds up towards AI. We are building towards, can you copyright an AI image? These are all relevant cases that build up for it. Okay. Let me blare music. More Astrobot. Okay. Now, asterisk that we'll come back to later. Fair use would potentially allow you to copyright this thing, but you would have to prove that, and that becomes a case-by-case sort of situation. It is very unlikely you would be able to claim fair use on a Skyrim playthrough. Very unlikely. We will get to that later. All right. What's everybody's score? We've done 3 questions so far. What's your score? Zero out of 3. Can you explain fair use? Yeah, we're going to get to fair use in this. All right. I think you're probably all lying. Somebody said there's 6 out of 3. Okay. I got them all right. Make these harder. Does it compete with market value? Yeah. Well, so we'll get to copyright later, or to fair use later. But for right now, it's just copyright. Again, fundamentally, copyright is about if you make a thing, do you have legal ownership of it? And it's really simple if you just make a painting. But we're talking about the weirder cases, right? That build up towards AI, which is a very weird case. All right, so let's go on to the next question. You list out every dog in your neighborhood. That's right. You go to all your neighbors and you knock on the door and you say, "Hello, I'm doing a census of dogs. I'm getting a list of every dog." And you get all the dogs in the neighborhood and you put in a big list and you give it even a nice font and you put it in alphabetical order. Can you copyright your list of dogs? And why or why not? You got all of it. You got Mr. Snuffles. You have Dr. Snuffles. You have Mr. Snuffles MD. I'm seeing a recurring theme of dogs. No, that's totally coincidence. Okay, I think most people are actually figuring out the vibe of this one. So, as you could sort of kind of expect, no. Because you can't copyright facts. Let me do this. So, there's a case called Feist Publications, Inc. versus Rural Telephone Service Company. So there was Rural Telephone Service Company. They made a telephone directory. For all you youngins in here, that's a thing they used to do where they would make a book of all of the people's names and addresses and numbers, phone numbers, and a phone book. So this company, Rural Telephone Service, did this, right? They made a directory of telephone numbers. And, hold on. If you don't think that's a big deal, they put it in alphabetical order. That's huge. And then Feist Publications, you fucking assholes, came along and used their phone list without permission. And so Rural Telephone Service came in there and sued them and said, "Whoa, that's our list of people's names and phone numbers." And the court ruled, this was like 9-0. They lost so bad. This is like the Supreme Court ruled 9-0 that they're wrong. They're like, "No, bro, you can't just copyright facts, okay? You can't just copyright a list of names. How? No, you can't do that." So the Supreme Court was like, "No, it's got to have creative expression." And this is important. It can't just be that you did the sweat of the brow, which is something they say a lot in these court cases. You can't just sweat a lot and then you copyright a list. You got to actually have original creative expression, okay? I'm copywriting all of Twitch chat's names, but isn't the style copyrighted? Only, so again, that's, you're picking up on it, right? If the style had been very creative and distinct, potentially yes. But you just made a list. Even if you put it in alphabetical order, which was, that was these guys' argument. They're like, "But we put it in alphabetical order. It's like the Supreme Court is like, no, dude, that's not creative. What are you doing? All right, question number 5. And by the way, total coincidence that there's another dog here. Let's see. You take 10,000 photos of your dog, okay? You take 10,000 beautiful photos of your dog, and then you code an AI program from scratch that trains on all of your dog photos and then generates new dog pictures. Okay, when your AI creates the dog photos, can you copyright the dog photos? See, now it's getting weird. Why? Why not? Again, you own all the dog pictures. You made all of the code. You designed the AI. And then the AI outputs dog photos. And let's assume this is an AI that's similar to Midjourney or ChatGPT. Same type of architecture, which is important later, but I won't go into that now. Okay, some people are saying the machine made it. The AI is not a dog. Yeah, a lot of people are upset that the AI isn't the dog. The dog is the owner. The dog owns it. A lot of people saying the AI owns the dog. Okay, most people are picking up on what the answer is going to be. You're starting to pick up the trend here, which is... I need more music. No. Because it's not... I'm taking notes and my pen ran out of chalk. Because the dogs didn't make the picture. You didn't make the picture. You didn't actually make the picture itself. The AI made it. So the AI owns the copyright to it. But it turns out that AIs, because they're not human, and we have all this established court cases to show that, can't get a copyright because it is not a human. It doesn't even matter if you made the algorithm. So there's this interesting case from this guy named Steven Thaler, and his AI that he made called Debus. And this one's really kind of fucking weird. So he went, and this is like this British computer scientist. He made like 10,000 photographs around England or whatever of his own stuff. And then he coded an AI from scratch with his own images. And then he had the AI make images. And this is actually one of them that he tried to get copyrighted. But what was interesting is he didn't just say, okay, I want the ownership. He actually tried to get Debus, his AI, to get the ownership. He went to the copyright courts and systems and said, yeah, my AI should own this. My AI made it. He even is crazy. He even he told the AI to he gave it he started messing with parts of its brain essentially to make it hallucinate more new stuff and make it dream nightmare type things, and basically came up with this. But he was encouraging the AI to make things in a certain way. But ultimately, the AI was generating new stuff from scratch. Well, new stuff. And so he went to the copyright office and he said, hey, I think the AI should own this. Kind of like what PETA did with the monkey, right? And the court was like, no, it's not a human. It's not a human. It can't own copyright. And they basically said, look, right now we have these rules established. This would require fundamental changes. If we're going to start letting machines own copyright, that's a completely different system than what we have as our current copyright system, right? And the guy doesn't own it either because the AI made it. So now this leads us to our final question, which you can probably guess at this point. The question is, if you go to ChatGPT right now, or you go to Midjourney right now, or you go to Google's AI right now, or any of the AI systems, and you ask it to make a dog picture, and even ChatGPT doesn't even have the rights to all of the images that it trained on, right? That's a whole other thing we're gonna get into. Can you copyright your shitty dog image? I made this morning on ChatGPT. Can I copyright it? And pretty much all of you are understanding it. No, I can't, because the AI made the thing, not me. And that means an AI image can't be copyrighted by anybody. It can't be copyrighted by the people who did the original training images. It can't be copyrighted by OpenAI who made it, and it can't be copyrighted by you. This is really fucking weird, right? This is strange that people are making all this stuff and nobody actually owns the rights to it. It gets even weirder because you know how everybody's starting to make AI stuff and post all these images on the internet? They can't even copyright them. Nobody can own any of this stuff right now. So, what I would consider the landmark case that shows this is this one called Zarya of the Dawn. So this is like the past few years this has been going on. You might have heard about this. There's this person named Christina Kashtanova who made a comic book using AI art. And so she made a full comic book where she wrote all the text and she set it all up, but the images all came from Midjourney, all right? And she sent it off for copyright. She said, hey, US Copyright Office, I want this officially registered as my thing. I made it. And it's successful. The office, US Copyright Office is like, yep, cool, you got it. Boo. I mean, look, we'll get to this later. If you hate AI, that's fine. This presentation is not about whether AI is ethical or not. This is about the logistics and legality of what happens right now with AI creation. But we will dive into that later. That's part of what all of this is about, right? But then, she went and bragged about it on social media, and that was a really bad idea because then everybody was like, wait, what the fuck? You copyrighted an AI generated book? That's not cool. And so they started telling the Copyright Office about it, and the Copyright Office came back and was like, no, hold on, no. And they actually revoked the copyright, and they said only the non-AI parts can be copyrighted. They did the Nintendogs thing, and they said, look, the images, that's not you. That's not you. You didn't do it, sorry. But everything else you got. The text and the arrangement is, you got that. So there's an important point here as we get into this. How does a system like Midjourney actually work? How does it make images? Well, the way these things work, I'm not going to get super detailed into it. This one uses stable diffusion. Various companies are using different algorithms for generating images, okay? But the core idea is that you get an AI that's trained on a shit ton of images, okay? You train it on millions or billions of images, usually billions. And what it's doing during that training is basically learning the general patterns that humans look for when they say certain text and it's associated with certain images, okay? And this is the next step after having looked at all these training things is you start the AI generation process by giving it just a blank slate of noise, like static. So unlike what some people think, when you ask an AI to make an image of, I don't know what this is, of an orange, it doesn't start with a picture of an orange. It doesn't go look at all the other pictures of oranges that it was trained on. Instead, it starts with literally a bunch of static, and then it slowly tries to remove the static, called the noise, to get closer and closer to an orange. And it doesn't even know what it's going towards. It's just like, I think if I make this a little less staticky, it'll get closer to an orange. And it does that over and over and over and over and over and over and over. So, unlike what you might think, an AI image generator isn't just looking at everybody else's images and like cramming them together and stealing them. It genuinely starts with a blank slate and it goes, okay, like this type of painting, I think it'd kind of look like this. And then it does that a little bit, removes a little bit of the static, and then it does a little bit more. And slowly, this thing that starts as just like gray, basically, slowly emerges into this fully complete, finalized thing. And that's how you get all of these crazy ass images. And you can go to like Midjourney and see all this stuff. Every single one of these images started as just static, just noise. And then it slowly was like, okay, I think the way it would get more towards what you want. If I was like, hey, give me a picture of a sandwich that looks like this and has these details, it'll start with static and slowly work its way towards that thing. And it's going to be different every time. Because it starts with a different static image, every time it does this process, it will do something new. As somebody just pointed out, it's not, I know there's a lot of hate for AI, but it's not as sort of like stealing as you might think, because it is genuinely going through a full creative process to make the thing, and it's different every time, assuming you start with a different piece of static every time. So I know a lot of people like to say, fuck AI art, but it's actually weirdly similar to how we make creative things. And you can say, oh, like it's still unethical of how it was trained or whatnot, but the training isn't that it learns to copy certain things, it learns patterns of how to create. Now we'll get back into this a little bit later in terms of the legality and ethics of this, but it's important to recognize that the way these things work is not that it's just taking a bunch of other people's images and jamming them together, okay? What it does is it starts with a random static noise, and then it tries to slowly work that towards what it think the result should be, okay? And the reason that's important is because you are not directly controlling what it creates. Asterisk, asterisk. I'm oversimplifying things a little bit for people who really know the details of this stuff. But when you tell it, hey, make me an image of an orange, it's not going to be the same every time. They're always going to be different. Because it's always starting with a new canvas, and it works that canvas towards an orange in a different way every time. So, in this copyright case, this is critically important to how this happened. This woman made this AI-generated comic book, right? And the Copyright Office, again, was like, look, the arrangement of the images, the text, the stuff that you did, that's on you, okay? You got that, you can have it. It's an unpublished literary work, which is very funny, because now she just she has the ownership of an unpublished work that she can't publish because she doesn't have the images. That's hilarious. So they're basically like, look, there's a clear distinction here. The parts that you did as a human, you're good, all right? You got that. You can have an unpublished work. But the images that were made by Midjourney weren't made by a human. And so she came back, the creator, and said, well, hold on. And here's where it gets kind of weird, right? She came back and said, wait a minute. I didn't just go on the internet and Google, this picture and steal it. I told the AI what I wanted. I told the AI I wanted to look like this and I wanted to have this style. And then after it made the first version, I told the AI, I want these iterations. I want it to go like this. I went through hundreds or thousands of iterations until it got to the version that I liked. I basically creatively directed this thing. I put in a ton of creativity to it. Yes, Midjourney was making the images, but I was guiding it and giving it all the feedback. I put in a ton of creativity. And that's kind of legit, right? It's like, okay, yeah, that's fair. That is genuine creativity. You might not like it. Maybe you say Midjourney did more, but that is genuine work that she's putting into it. But the Copyright Office basically says, no, that's like you hired an artist. That's like you went out and you hired a person to make you art. You told them what you wanted, but the artist owns it. This is how it actually works in real life. If you go and hire an artist to make you something, they own it, not you. It doesn't matter. If you go to some artist on Twitter and say, make me furry porn art of Doug who's bald, they have the ownership. Doesn't matter if you pay them. It doesn't matter if you told them directions and then you spent hundreds of hours telling them how to make me more bald. It doesn't matter. They own it. The only case where they don't is if there's a contract written that specifies that you get the ownership. So this is really important. The actual creator of a thing, the person who goes through the fundamental creative process, they own the copyright by default. And in this case, they're saying, look, Midjourney did this, not you. Midjourney actually made the images and the painting here. Even if you guided it, it doesn't matter. And so this court case is actually fascinating. It's so good. And this actually, if you're interested at all, here's the link. This is the response from the US Copyright Office. And I'm like, wow, this is really thoughtful. They really understand what is actually going on in terms of the tech of this AI, because they're basically saying so they're like, okay, yeah, you own the text. Can I zoom in on this? How do I zoom in? 200. There we go. So they actually list out, this is how Midjourney works. When you ask Midjourney for a prompt, when you ask it for a prompt, it generates 4 different images and they're all different. And it's relevant here that by its own description, Midjourney does not interpret prompts as specific instructions to create a specific result. So they make an important point here. When you go to one of these image generators, it's not like Photoshop, which is a tool where when you do something in Photoshop, you get the same result every time. That's not what's happening here. You're telling it, hey, I want this general thing, and then it creates the general vibe, but it's not a tool that one-to-one matches with what you want to do. It's just kind of figuring out its own thing, and it's different every time. So the fact that you can't recreate this image, the creator cannot perfectly recreate this image. Midjourney will never perfectly recreate that. It will be different every time. Because of that, it's not just a tool, and therefore it is actually the one being creative. And so it actually the Copyright Office really dove into this and seems to genuinely understand what's going on. And so it's really fascinating. It's like, okay, if these AI systems were just copying and pasting things, this would be a little clearer, right? It's just like you're using AI. But instead, the AIs are being creative enough that they actually are the creator, which is very strange. Now, people are talking about the seed, okay? If you know the seed, then you can perfectly recreate it. This is a nuance to this. You can get an AI to exactly recreate something if you want. We modded. Oh, I can't right now, Blurbs. But down the road I can. If you perfectly recreate, Minecraft. If you start with the exact same starting point, remember the noise I was talking about. If you start with the same random noise, we just go paint, right? If you're like, you have all this random noise on the page, and normally every time you create an image, it starts with a new random set of noise, and that completely changes the creative process. If you start with the exact same noise, then you can get to the exact same result, okay? So it is possible to make an AI that acts more like Photoshop, okay? Arguably, it's still doing the creativity of turning noise into an image, right? But at least and then it's reproducible. But with these particular AI programs that we have access to right now, for example, ChatGPT, if you go to ChatGPT, you can't get it to perfectly recreate something. You don't have the option of giving it a seed, okay? So even if you wanted to go into Midjourney and recreate this exact same sandwich, you can't do it. Because of the way these are designed, it's always going to look different, okay? So that's an important element to this. If this AI comic book artist had made her own thing, if she had made the AI from scratch and used the same seeds, then maybe there's an argument for it. But when you use these image generators right now, you by definition are getting a new thing every time that is an original creation. Yeah. If nothing can be recreated exactly as it was, all those images are unique. Yeah, it's not just a tool. So it's really weird. H-Rock, it's Techno Tuesday! I don't know if I'm doing the right thing here. I'll just, okay. So this is really fascinating, and it leads me to my next section called, What's Up, Beijing? No, okay, so this court case, I think this case with the Copyright Office and Zarya of the Dawn, this was like a year ago. This is recent. I think this is the most relevant and clear example of the current standard for AI stuff, which is basically, if you use AI generated things, sure, go for it. But you can only copyright the pieces you originally create. Now, maybe you guys don't care about this. I think this is fascinating. This is so fucking interesting and weird. Oh, and by the way, in this case, right, that they did, they listed all of those previous cases that I was mentioning. All that stuff we were talking about earlier of it has to be a human. Oh, it can't just be facts. There has to be a certain amount of human involvement. All of these are building up towards this very strange new world that we're in, which is these AI systems that are genuinely making original things all the time. So what do the AI companies think? Okay, so right now, in the US at least, we don't know about the rest of the world, but at least in the US, nobody owns the copyright. Again, this image that I made earlier on ChatGPT for the sake of this presentation, nobody owns it. You can go take it. You can sell this on a t-shirt if you wanted, technically with how things work right now. And so there's all these questions as a follow-up, right? First off, what do the AI companies think? Okay, the companies who are making these AIs and spending all this money doing it, are they trying to take ownership of it? What's their deal? What are they doing? All right, let's find out. So they're actually chill FR. So ChatGPT and Midjourney, they're like, hey, you own it. It's not us. Hands up. It's all you, buddy. So for example, in the OpenAI terms of service, it says, as between, we need the fancy music. As between you and OpenAI, and to the extent permitted by applicable law, you, A, retain all ownership rights and input, and B, own all output. We hereby assign you our right, title, and interest, if any, in and to output. So they don't claim it, right? They're like, hey, it's all you. It's all you. But again, that doesn't mean you have it. They're saying like, hey, to the extent of the law, you can have it. But the extent of the law doesn't let me have it, right? So again, I wish I'd put this earlier. I made this in ChatGPT this morning. ChatGPT is like, hey, it's all you. However, the US government is not like, hey, it's all you. So it's weird, right? So from their perspective, they're not trying to claim anything. They're like, hey, you do whatever the fuck you want. It's not on us. They're going to make money by charging you to generate the thing, but they're not going to try to take the thing itself, right? And again, to be clear, they don't have the rights. When they say, hey, you can have all the rights, they're not giving you anything that they own. They don't own it. The AI owns it, which means it doesn't own it because it's not a human, right? So they're giving you a thing that they can't give you that you can't have. So thank you, ChatGPT. Very cool. But so, okay, we're forgetting somebody here. There's somebody in this whole equation that we haven't talked about yet. Who is it? Can anybody think of them? They're fairly important to this whole process. It's not Xi Jinping. It's what's up, Beijing? Jesus Christ. No, it's not quite. Oh, somebody said it. It's the original artists. What about the people who actually made all the art that the AI is trained on? Because, yeah, actually, we haven't really talked about this yet. Turns out when you go to a ChatGPT image, ChatGPT was trained on billions of other people's images that they did not ask for permission for. So that's cool. None of the artists, gave them permission. So what about them? Okay, what about them? Let's go back to my shitty bell pepper. Okay, this was created by an AI. I would argue there is genuine creative process in how the AI functions, like on a deep technical level. That's a more philosophical argument. But objectively, the AI was trained on a whole bunch of images that it didn't own in order to be able to learn how to make dogs that are wearing bell peppers. Billions of images. And then it was able to create this. So, music. Do the people who made all the photos and images and pictures that trained the AI get anything? No, they don't. Sorry, artists, you're fucked. However, they also won't in the future. However, there's a possibility that things could change because New York Times sued OpenAI. OpenAI, who makes ChatGPT, trained ChatGPT off of a shitload of New York Times articles. And so the New York Times came in and they said, whoa, copyright infringement. You're taking all of our articles and our news that we made and you trained your AI with it, and that's not fair. Those all are copyrighted stuff. You can't just take it. They also said, and this is pretty important, that ChatGPT is actually serving as a market replacement. They're saying, and I'll explain what this means in a second. They're saying, look, instead of having to go to our site, New York Times, and pay us money to read our articles that we work on, now they're just using ChatGPT to get a summary. ChatGPT can replace our work. So it's like harming our business. It's not just you took it from us without permission. It's that you're also using it to take business from us in the future, right? And they say, hey, you should have to pay us. You should have to do something. Rabble. Okay. We do have to take a quick break and talk about fair use. Do I have like a funny like Renaissance fair song? I thought this was a very hilarious joke that I searched for fair and put this picture in. I don't really have a Renaissance fair song. Sorry guys, you're gonna have to use your imagination. How about this? Okay. So, real quick aside, what the fuck is fair use? So, in general, if somebody makes a thing, they have the copyright for it. Storyteller, okay. It's not the appropriate time. Let's get ready for fair use! All right, I think it's a little too much. That was pretty hype, though. I'm pumped for fair use now. All right, so, in general, if you make a thing, you have ownership of it, okay? But with fair use, the idea is like, let's say you've made a cool piece of artwork. You made a painting or whatever. Let's say you made this painting. This is your painting. and I come along, fair use could potentially let me use your stuff without permission in my copyrighted material. Now, generally, this is meant to be for education, commentary, innovation. The idea is like, I'm creating something that is particularly unique or educational, and it requires me to use some of what you made in order to make my thing. And now this is case by case. You can't just go around using anybody's stuff. You have to go like individually prove that you are allowed to do this. It depends on market replacement. It depends on like, is what I'm making going to replace your ability to sell and use this in the future? If so, that's not really fair use. The amount of it used. If I use this entire picture, do I get fair use? It's less likely. The transformation amount. Let's say I go into this and I draw googly eyes on everybody's eyeballs. I've transformed it. I've made it into a new thing, but is that enough? Maybe. So there isn't a kind of clear-cut, this is fair use or not. There's various factors that you have to consider. This is worth talking shit really quick about all of the YouTubers who like watch entire YouTube videos as React content. That is not fair use at all, because you are doing a market replacement. If somebody can watch the entire original video in your video, you are not doing fair use. You're just stealing from them. You know, and if you still want to do it, that's fine. But like, just to be clear, that is not fair use. When Internet Historian opens his YouTube video and then puts all of this is covered under fair use, no, it's not. You can't just use clips of fucking Interstellar for your video because you wanted to. You didn't require the Interstellar clip in order to make your point. So this is case by case. Most people on YouTube are fucking idiots with this stuff. But unless somebody specifically goes after them, it doesn't really matter. And just to be clear, I'm not trying to say like, fuck all these people. I'm just saying they're really misinformed about fair use. So there's a lot of disinformation about fair use. You have to make a pretty strong case that like it required you to use the thing, that you're not taking away from their original revenue, that you're not, that it's like very different. You only use exactly the amount that was required, all this stuff, right? Uses Nintendo music during this. So I have the rights to do this because Nintendo has an actual legal document that says you can use our game materials in this way. So yes, I am allowed to use this. But even if I wasn't, even if I was stealing their stuff, again, I could potentially argue fair use. Some of the photos in this document are copyrighted, and I would argue I can use them for fair use because they are necessary to make a point about fair use and copyright. So again, it's a case-by-case thing that you have to sort out, and it's not some clean, easy thing where you just get to steal whatever you want. A lot of creators on the internet seem to think fair use means you can steal anything you want. Fair use doesn't exist. It's an old wives' tale. Yeah, no, it's not. Like, it's very hard to prove fair use. By default, you should assume that you cannot go steal things. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, that's a good point. It's not a right. You don't have a right to fair use. This is like a legal defense that, like, maybe you won't get in trouble. Okay, so that's what fair use is. The idea is it protects you if you use other people's stuff in very specific cases. So now, as a reminder, what we were talking about is that New York Times sued OpenAI, okay? And OpenAI's response, well, first off, this is funny. They're like, hold on, bro, is the news even copyrightable? Isn't it just facts? Remember how earlier we talked about the phone book? That's their first thing they're doing. They're like, you're just talking about the news. That's not creativity. And then New York Times came back and were like, yes, it is. We work really, really hard on our news. And then New York Times is like, but you know, do you really? You're just saying facts. Here's the legal precedent for that. And they came back and they're like, we have so much stuff that we do. We work really hard. And then OpenAI was like, okay, show us. Prove it. So OpenAI's lawyers have asked New York Times to provide all of the documents and research and notes from all of the editors for all of their articles to prove that this is actually creative and not just facts. And New York Times has been like, we can't fucking do that. That's so much work. We're not going to go and fucking get all of the notes from all of our articles forever. But it's kind of interesting, right? That whole thing about the phone book sets this really interesting precedent. You can't copyright facts. So is your news copyrightable? The only way it's copyrightable is if you prove that you're being really creative with it. But then that kind of goes against a lot of New York Times, which is their whole thing is like, we tell you the news like it is. Very strange thing that's going back and forth there, right? These cases are currently going on, by the way. Right, so then the argument is if the facts aren't copyrightable, then our AI should be able to go learn all the facts and then create new facts, right? Our AI should be able to learn them. You don't get to own the facts. So it's very interesting. And the second bigger argument is this is fair use. We're transforming it, right? When somebody uses ChatGPT, they're not just getting a copy of a New York Times article. They're not. ChatGPT is summarizing it or giving new information or presenting it in whatever way the user asks for. And I think there's legitimate argument to this. I think both sides have legit argument here. This is currently in court. This is a big idea, or this is a big deal. The result of this is going to be a huge factor on whether fair use can be claimed by AI companies, right? A lot of what people are upset about with AI art is the fact that these companies are mostly making these things from images and videos that they don't have the rights to, right? Not all of them, but most of them. And so the question is, what happens if they can't claim fair use? The only real argument they have is like, hey, it's fair use, right? Like, yeah, we are able to use all this stuff and we don't need to give you permission because we're dramatically transforming it, right? It's in the same way that if I go watch 1,000 YouTube videos and then I go make my own YouTube video, I don't owe the 1,000 YouTube videos I watched anything. I that was inspiration that taught me how to be a better creator and gave me ideas for the future. As much as people like to hate on AI, it's not this cut and dry thing. The process of training these AIs is eerily similar to how we as humans learn to have new creative ideas and express them. I'm not saying it is creative. I'm saying it is weirdly close to what we as humans do. Not the same, but weirdly close. There's nuance here, and we'll get into this more later. I'm just trying to make sure that I deeply believe that there's nuance to these things, and it's not just, yeah, AI is bad, or yeah, AI is good. It's a weird middle ground. It's really strange. It's really weird. Okay, so let's keep going. This court case is going to be massively impactful on whether the AI companies can keep just taking everybody's data without permission, okay? There's another court case that's pretty big. I forgot to change the thing. It's from Getty Images versus Stability AI. So Getty Images, if you are not aware, they own the copyright of like tons and tons and tons of photos. That's their thing, right? Getty Images is whenever you see people at the red carpet, a bunch of celebrities, it says Getty Images at the bottom right. So Getty Images has millions of photographs that they take and they license them. You have to pay to use them. And Stability AI made Stable Diffusion. Stable Diffusion is the, let's say, algorithm. It's the model that can create images. So Midjourney, which is one of the most popular AI image generators, runs on Stable Diffusion, partially. But there's a bunch of AI companies that use this core technology. And basically, Stability AI currently has an AI image generator. And so, their image generator was absolutely trained on Getty Images. And so Getty Images says, whoa, you used all your images to make your AI. That's not fair. That's copyright infringement. What's even funnier with this is Stable Diffusion will actually make original AI images that have the Getty Images watermark in them. And so it's like, they're like, dude, it's not just that you took all of our stuff. It's also making images that have our watermark. Clearly, you're just recreating our stuff. So they're using that as an argument to be like, this is market replacement. You're just like outputting our stuff. And funny enough, I'm sure some people here are like, yeah. Okay, I might have to evacuate. Nah, it's fine. We'll be fine. I'll play, we'll play funny music. We'll be good. No, I am actually okay, but I will keep an eye on my phone. No, guys, listen to the music. This is legitimately fine. I've been monitoring this constantly for the past several days. We're good. So I think it's easy to kind of be like, you get them, Getty Images. Go fight for the little guy. Go fight for the artist. Yeah, the artist should get paid. All this stuff. What's funny is Getty just wants to be paid. So in their official press release, they're like, it's so funny. This week, Getty Images commenced legal proceedings in the High Court of Justice in London against Stability AI. They basically say, hey, you took our images and processed them and And now you're hurting content creators and you're hurting you're hurting content creators. And then they say, Getty Images believes artificial intelligence has the potential to stimulate creative endeavors. Additionally, Getty Images provided licenses to leading technology innovators. Stability AI did not seek any such license from us, and we believe should have pursued licensing. Getty Images is basically just like, you should pay us, which, like, it's funny because it's not like Getty Images is going to go give that back to the creators. They're just going to take it for themselves probably. But anyway, so Getty just straight up is like, we're doing this for the content creators, so we should get a lot of money. And it's like, okay. Okay, so Stability's response, their core thing is, it's transformative. This is original. Again, they're saying the fair use argument. They're like, look, when we make a picture of an astronaut on a horse on the moon, that's an original creation. Now, again, part of the argument of Getty Images is like, you're putting things that have our watermark in them. And then they have a genius response to this. They say, check this out, if users recreate copyrighted stuff, that's on them. That's not us. That's brilliant, right? They're just like, if somebody goes in and says, make me an image with a Getty watermark, they did that. That's on them, right? Because when you use one of these services, you have to sign the terms of service. And you have to say, I'm not going to recreate copyrighted things. And then if some guy goes and does that, that's on them, right? It's like if you upload porn to YouTube, YouTube's like, look, that's not on us. We'll do our best to take it down if you let us know. We'll take it down. But they made that. It's not on us. This is currently in court. Who knows? And again, it's interesting. Both sides have legit points. I think Getty is probably a little more legit in this case. The fact that the thing is just putting Getty watermarks in the video, in the images is not a good look, but who knows? Maybe they'll win. So this is another really big court case going on that is about images specifically that will probably have a major impact on whether fair use kind of becomes a big deal. So whether or not those cases play out will probably dictate whether these companies have to pay the content creators in order to use all their data to train. But regardless, data creators, you don't get copyright. Sad. Sorry. Doesn't matter if you made a bunch of paintings that some AI company took. You don't get to own it. And this gets back to the thing of the AI made the AI images. You made stuff. The AI company used your stuff to make an AI. The AI made something new. The AI made the thing, not you. It doesn't matter that you're at the beginning of the chain. You're not part of the end result. And if you say that's rigged and that's a scam, yeah, that's seriously flawed in major ways. However, you could also argue, again, if some genuine artist, a painter, goes to a museum and looks at all these incredible pieces of art and is inspired and then goes and makes new things, the paintings he looked at, those owners shouldn't own his new stuff, right? That's not how, like, humans all iterate creatively. That's how we work creatively. We all go off of other things. So it's, it's like, it's not like any person who inspires anybody should get ownership of what they made. That doesn't really make sense. But we're wrapping up. So ultimately, data is really important here. This is another big topic I might talk about in the future. Even in the context of what we're talking about, of basically all these AI companies have been taking data and using it without permission, they're running out of data. And so a lot of what companies are trying to do right now, a lot of what companies are trying to do right now is figure out how to make their systems better without requiring a shitload more data. That could include synthetic data, meaning that they use AIs to make stuff to train their AIs, which gets into a weird cycle and has various concerns. Or they just get smarter with training, and maybe they figure out how to make AI smarter with less data. There's theories by, for example, Andrej Karpathy, I don't know how to say his name, that the future is not going to be about getting even more data. The future is going to be about getting a really small amount of really, 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 really high quality data. His theory is that it's better to have, for example, 1,000 books, or not books, like 1,000 essays that really represent human thought and intelligence more so than having all of Twitter, which is a bunch of fucking dumbasses being stupid, right? And even if Twitter has billions of instances of people being dumbasses, maybe the 1,000 paragraphs could actually teach an AI to be smarter, right? And we don't know yet. So far, more data has made things smarter. That is currently how it has worked. But we're getting to a point where the companies are running out of data. Even with these lawsuits coming, like New York Times isn't making enough data to make our AIs smarter, right? We've kind of like chewed through everything that we had created up until this point, and now the companies are kind of sitting around being like, what do we do now? This is also one of the reasons why YouTube is at an insane competitive advantage, in my opinion, because they have an absolutely gargantuan amount of data to work from, and every single day there's like, you know, a fucking trillion new videos that go on YouTube. So they are crazy advantage. So, in summary, what we have learned today is, say it with me, chat. It is, no one owns anything. Yeah, so with AI generated images, the original content data creators don't own it. The AI companies don't own it. The person who prompts it doesn't own it. The AI owns it, who doesn't own it because they're not a human. All right, so that's a whole lot of stuff. I think this is fascinating. And right now, basically, they're like genuinely, the summary of all this is like, we don't know. We do not know. And there's going to be more court cases and stuff that are there's going to be lots of legal stuff happening. This is all very new, complex, strange, weird. But that's the current situation of it. I want to give my quick thoughts. I think the fair use cases are going to be massively important. Like I just said, the economics of AI is going to change a lot if, for example, OpenAI has to go pay New York Times. And I think creators should be compensated for data. Right now, the AIs are basically going around the internet and just taking all the stuff they can find, and nobody gets compensated. I do think in the future, it will be the case that, for example, I can create a YouTube video or create something original, and I can tell companies, I'm willing to give you this as training data, and in return, I should get compensation. I think that's the world we're going to move to, and there's several other AI like tech leaders who do think that. Obviously, a lot of companies don't want to do that. They would love to stay in the world where they don't have to compensate anybody. But I do think this will be the case. And so for people who are worried about the future where AI creates all the art and artists don't have jobs, I think creating data for the AIs to train on will actually be a new source of revenue. You will be able to, if you make online art, you'll be able to make the art and sell it and do whatever you want with it, but also make additional revenue by saying, yeah, you can go train AIs on this. That's fine. And that, I think, should be your decision. The fair use cases might mean that you don't get to decide, and I'm not really a big fan of that world, but I think we're going to move towards this, and I think that is good. You shouldn't make like a ton of money probably, but you should make some. I don't think the AI company should just be able to like take all your stuff with no compensation. This is a hot, spicy take that will probably change in the future. I think that the ownership should actually lie with the AI company. The AI company, like OpenAI, right? And you might go, no, it should go with that. So you have four parties here, right? You have the people who make the original data, then you have the company that trains an AI, and then you have the AI itself, and then you have the person who asked the AI to make a thing. Here's why I think this. It is because there is an enormous there is an increasing amount of human creativity and decision making that is going into these AIs. For example, one of the main ways that you make AI smarter is with RLHF, reinforcement learning human feedback. We have human beings, tens of thousands of them, who are currently looking at data from AIs and saying, I like this, I don't like this. I like this, I don't like this. They have engineers who are going into the code of the AI and saying, we want you to act more like this. We want you to act less like this, right? Over on X, the Everything app, like they're trying to make their AI be a crazy edgelord dickhead, right? And that's their creative direction. that is different from what the other companies are doing. So as we get farther into the creation of these AIs, I suspect that they will become increasingly a product of the creators rather than an objective sort of just God creature that knows what to do. The point here is that I believe there will be an increasing amount of influence that the creators of the AI have with the company. With the AI itself. And at a point, if you have created this incredibly complex tool and it really reflects your beliefs and interests, at some point, I think you should retain some amount of ownership of that, rather than the guy who comes along and says, give me a picture of Doug with giant googly eyes. You know what I mean? This is probably the most likely opinion I have to change. But in its current state, I think either nobody should own it or the AI creator should own it. That's my thought. And you can say I'm rigged and bald, but I think that's kind of legit. But there's a lot of questions to sort out before we get there. And then finally, we have to figure out at what point did a human co-create it, right? So let's say I go to an AI, okay? And I say, make me a funny image of a dog with a bell pepper hat. And then I spend the next 6 months talking to this AI, giving it feedback, making it go farther and farther, giving detailed notes and saying, look, I really want it to go this direction. Now we should do this. Now we should do this. Like a director of a movie would do, like a creative director at any art company would do, where you really give a lot of input and you are a major part in guiding the creative process to the end. I feel like at some point you should be a co-creator, right? This is the same as if I hire an artist to go make me a picture of me bald, and we spend a year working on it together. Should I ever get ownership of it? Maybe should we split it? It feels strange to me that the director, the creative director, has no ownership of it. That's kind of weird to me. And again, like just to be clear, currently, that is the standard. If I hire an artist, no matter how much I give creative feedback, they own the copyright. That is how it currently works. But that feels kind of strange to me. And I think there should be a threshold, like a level at which we say, okay, we should co-own this together. The idea that only the person who is like putting pen to paper should own anything. Say there's a team of 20 people and one of the 20 people is the one making the thing physically, but everybody is giving creative feedback. It's a whole artistic team. You're saying only the person who writes it should get ownership. That feels really weird to me. Like it feels like it should be shared to some degree. That does not feel fair to me. We're talking about humans sharing ownership of something. I'm not saying AI. We're saying humans should share ownership of things. So that part's weird. That's it. Thanks for watching. Any questions? Be sure to check out next Monday on Techno Tuesday. Anyway, I think this is so interesting, dude. This is so weird. What a weird ass fucking situation the world we're in. If you have any questions, I'm happy to chat about it. We can talk a little bit more. Did you use AI in your presentation? This is AI. I made AI images for the point of this presentation, which is again to indicate you guys can take this shitty image if you want. You can go do it. I don't own it. I have no ownership of that thing. All right. Let us. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I don't really want to go off text to speech. I'm curious just to chat about this for a little bit and see what people think. Thanks for the lecture, Doggy. Charity auction painting. If an editor provides a ton of feedback, they should have ownership over the published book. Yeah, it's interesting.
It prevents art can never truly replace human art without getting plagiarized and have no recourse. Haha, take that using ultra-rich bastards.
Yeah, dude, it's weird. Yoink screenshot. You can take this. It also means if an AI makes an NFT...
I was gonna ask about the ethics of the environmental impact of AI, then I heard the alert for an incoming fire tornado because California is running out of water, so now that feels kinda awkward.
So now Barry Bebop owns all of Doug Doug. Actually, fun fact, so Barry Bebop is my creative director. He does a lot of work on the channel. I never actually created a contract with him that says he doesn't own the rights to all the stuff he works on, so technically he could copyright my stuff and sue me. I was supposed to do that. Again, normally when you hire artists and stuff, like a company, they would write a contract that says, you're going to work for me, I get the creative ownership of it. I'm paying you to make me a thing, but I get ownership of it. That's how you're supposed to do it. And then 3.5 years ago, I was like, shit, I got to do that. I'll do that soon. And now it's 2025. AI is a tool, and for a company to train their tools on a bunch of stolen stuff in order to make a profit or not to have to pay anybody, that's skeezy. That is a bigger question, which let's keep this focused on copyright law, because we can definitely get into the broader ethics of AI, but that is a big question, which I've talked about before, but that's too big. I think what you're largely talking about is, will people use AI in an ethical way? And I think probably the answer is they will use it for very unethical things, and they'll use it for very ethical things, like any other tool in society. But that's the bigger question. All right, I'll do some text speech.
Should Adobe own my noise-corrected photography?
So, this is an interesting thing, okay? This is so interesting. Adobe, like Photoshop and Premiere, they have these new AI tools, right? And great job, Adobe, you did it ethically, because they have the rights to all the stuff it's trained on. Adobe has an AI image generator, which you use in Photoshop, and they did not go steal stuff from people. They used the actual stuff that they have the rights to. Great job, Adobe. Now, the downside about that is Adobe, it wasn't really upfront with people that all their stuff would be used for AI, and then also are not compensating any of the people whose images they're used to make the AI. But hey, at least they got him. That's better, I think. It is better that they technically have the rights. But again, I think we will move towards a future where basically Adobe is going to say, look, if you upload images to our service, I retract my POG. If you upload images to our service, you will get additional compensation because we're going to use it to train AI. So I believe this will become an additional source of revenue for creators in the future. You could still argue whether that's a net positive or negative or whatever, but right now Adobe is not doing that. Hopefully they do in the future. I'm sure they could make an argument that they're pricing it in or whatever. I don't exactly super believe that, but all right.
What about high editing tools such as the one in Photoshop?
Yeah, so that one, like I just said, that one's interesting because they have all the rights. But again, their AI is making it. Adobe doesn't own it.
You kind of talked about this, but in my opinion, AI isn't doing the same thing as what a human does. Human directive works will be impacted by personal experiences and perspectives. A fanfic will still reflect how the author interpreted the characters.
Yeah. I'll probably talk at some point in more detail about
Doug,
how
you should
AI
have worn your
image generators
glasses for
work.
this so you would look professional.
Shit! Sorry, guys. I don't know if you believed any of that. I didn't even look like a nerd.
That was an absolutely perfect presentation on the subject.
Thank you.
That high content can't be copyrighted right now is something I love, because I love the public domain.
Now do you believe me? Yeah, dude, isn't that so wild? If you go and you search this literally right now, if you go
what I'm
to
worried
Midjourney
about is people getting addicted to our chatbots replacing real-life relationships. Thoughts?
That is a great question, and that's a huge, massive topic that I haven't thought a ton about, and I want to try to keep it somewhat contained right now because otherwise we'll go off forever. You know what's fucking wild? All of this stuff isn't copyrightable. You can use this for whatever you want, and nobody can claim ownership of it. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, this stuff is made off of billions of videos, which then thousands of dudes made a bunch of, dudes and dudettes, mostly dudes though, because it's San Francisco, let's be honest, made a program which generates these crazy ass videos and nobody can own it. That's so weird. It's so weird.
Hey Barry, this is for your legal fees, etc, etc.
Gotta be so funny if they sued me. Crazy ass stolen videos I don't want to use.
Hey dog, the prototype plush is currently in transit to the US, however it is not moved in a few days. I can only conclude that the plush entered hunting mode once it reached the US and it started the fires in an attempt to kill you. You are not safe to.
I'll be careful. Okay, there are 27 messages in the queue. I would recommend not donating because it's probably going to take us a long time to get there.
Do you think Shaq can still dunk?
Good question. Yes, but he won't own it.
So Doug, I tried copywriting the phrase Doug is bald and the Big Johnny copyright said you can't copyright facts. Then a dog took a picture of me and now I belong to the dog, right?
Yeah, it sounds like you Sounds like you really learned. You really learned.
With the amount of data required, wouldn't companies would need to pay like 1 cent per work? Is that much different than just taking it?
They right now are training data off of trillions of pieces of data. So it is not possible for them to pay everybody well. It's not like if you put in some image on Adobe, they're going to give you $1. Okay. The economics don't make sense. If you're not going to be paid well, you'll just be paid technically. But unless they become really profitable and they actually make enough money to justify paying the creators a lot, which will hopefully happen, right? Hopefully we get there.
I appreciate your thoughts on how being trained is similar to human artists finding inspiration in others' art. Question: if I generate an image then use that as a base to paint over, would that now be owned by me?
I mean, it gets, again, it's like, how much of that, if the core
Based
thing...
on that take, shouldn't we be getting compensation for content ideas that come from us? What about when we help you shape an AI's character's personality during a stream? Isn't that co-creation?
By the current laws, no. If I'm the one creating a thing, I own it. And then if we make an AI character and he talks, I don't own what the AI character says.
Do you think Adobe should own my photograph sign noise corrected in Lightroom?
I don't actually know Adobe's policies on ownership of what you make in the thing. No, I'm okay. We're good. I have plenty of precautions around fire stuff. We're all good. I was going to say something that was mildly amusing. I don't remember it. Just pretend I said something interesting. If only humans can hold copyright, why should AI be able to defend with fair use? So, just to be clear, the fair use argument is from the AI companies. They're saying they're allowed to use it to make the AI. I don't know if that answers your question, but oops.
Some AI is trained on images that they didn't get permission to train on, but so are human artists. That's how we learn and develop our own creativity. There's nothing that a human can create that is entirely unique and doesn't take some level of inspiration from other works that we've experienced, and that's why the AI stealing from creators argument is frustrating to me. An AI's creative process is fundamentally no different than a human's.
Yeah. I agree. I think that the process of an AI being trained and then making images is much closer to the human process of creativity than you want to admit. And I know artists don't want to hear that. I know people don't want to hear that. It's really fun to have AI be this evil thing where it's like, yeah, it's stealing all of our stuff. But it strongly parallels the way that human beings are inspired by each other's art and iterate off of it. Like, I, as somebody who is moderately creative, so much of my creativity comes from inspiration from other things around me. That doesn't mean I'm stealing from them. And like, I think the idea that every human who ever makes anything is this completely original piece of work that has it's like, no, everything we make is massively inspired and drawn from previous things. That's not to say that it is perfect, but there is nuance to this. I'm just trying to express that there is nuance. It's stealing our things and it's not creative. It is shockingly similar to the creative process of humans. I know that it's the fact that artists' works are being directly used to train AI without their consent. Yes, there's two questions here. One is, should you be allowed to use people's stuff without their consent? That needs to be answered, right? Potentially there's licensing stuff there. And then the second one is AI art original art, or is it stealing? Is it creative? And I think it's a lot closer to being actual genuine creativity than people want to admit. I'm not saying AI art is creative, but I'm saying if you understand how it actually functions, it is shockingly close to how human beings do creative things. And I know people don't want to hear that. But that's the reality. That's how it works. It's not Photoshop. It doesn't just do what you want. It learns how to do stuff. It's crazy.
So with films, with huge teams, which individual person owns the film when hundreds or thousands work on it?
Yeah, okay, this is wild. There was a case, I don't remember the name of it, where a movie director tried to get copyright ownership of a movie and wasn't able to get it because the production company who made the movie got the copyright because they made it. The director of the movie didn't get to own the movie. That is weird. You can agree or disagree with it. I feel like it should be shared. It feels weird that only the people who like physically put the cameras on should get ownership. Again, if you have proper contracts, that stuff is alleviated, but I guess they didn't, which is just fucking weird, man. Like, that's not how it should. I don't think the only owner should be the person who like turned on the camera on the movie set. It's a contract issue. Yeah. But by default, whoever did the physical thing owns it. Yeah, currently this is the law. I'm largely in this presentation talking about what currently is factually the law.
You for copyright, and then you all can make a video out of it, etc., etc.
Yeah. All right, as an artist, my style is absolutely inspired by others, but it is a culmination of years practicing, seeing what I like and don't like, talking to people. My art style is a culmination of my life.
You're good at 2D platformers, and you've helped me get through my depression in college.
Thank you, Seven.
Today is my birthday, and you streaming makes me so happy. Hope you're good. My favorite streamer.
Yeah, so again, you know, I don't really want to get into the broader thing of is AI art? Because it's, and I also want to think about it more, and it's a very, very emotionally charged topic for good reason. But, you know, it's like saying, yeah, your style is inspired by others, but it's a culmination of practice and seeing things. It's the culmination of your life. And then with AI, it's not. Arguably, though, an AI's life is seeing and experiencing billions of different things and developing a system and way of creating things based on that. It's inspired by a billion things, billions, literally, just in the same way we are, that everything we experience around the world is going into our brain and is slowly updating our system of how we view and think about the world. You can say it's not alive, and that's fine. That is true. But I still think there's a fairly strong parallel between how we as artists, as creative people, are inspired by the world around us and how AIs do as well. It's not a perfect 1-to-1 ratio. Just to be clear, I'm not saying this is black and white. There's nuance here. It's just closer than a lot of people give it credit for. Yeah, and then there's argument of like, okay, what is alive? If an AI can talk and think and create things like a human and does the same process creatively as a human, at what point is it alive? We're going to have to figure that out pretty soon. Like, in the next few years. We're going to have to figure that out. It involves prompt solving rather than prompt engineering. But that's... You're talking about how creative... Again, there's all these different distinctions. There's multiple things going on here. You can say, the person who makes AI art isn't being creative. That could be true. We're talking about whether the AI itself is creative. The AI itself is going through a lot of the same processes that a human does. If some crypto bro comes in and says, make me an image of a monkey, that guy is not being very creative. But the actual AI is immensely complex and has a, I don't know whether you want to call it thought, enormous amount of, let's say, processing that is done around the creation of things. But let's not get into consciousness. That's too big. Let's try to stay focused on copyright. There's too many giant angles we can go out on. We can't cover all of them.
I is not a person, though I don't believe corporations are people either. I'm hoping you don't think that corporations should have the same rights that people do. That's my rationale for being against it.
Thank you. AI sucks. Don't care. I think that a company should be able to create a thing and own it. Yes. So for example, I know, I mean, this might make you guys hate me. I am technically the CEO of a company. My company. I've been working for 6 years very hard on YouTube and work really hard to try to make things that I think are interesting and that I'm proud of. I am proud of the stuff that I've made. I think it is perfectly fine for my company to have ownership of the things that I create. For example, we made a mug and we made fun commercials for those mugs. I think it is perfectly fine for my company to own that stuff that we made. So I know people are upset about corporations that do shitty things, but I think you need to separate your hatred for shitty corporations from the concept of a company owning something that they create. I think obviously companies should be able to own things. I'm not saying all companies should own everything, but companies are not inherently evil. There are plenty of shitty ones who are doing shitty things, but that's not inherently what is going on.
Copyright is becoming an outdated concept that assumes the
Yes.
input of labor to create a finished work.
Yeah.
Its intentions to protect a person's right to the value of their labor without fear of replication is harder to justify if no labor exists in the creation of the product.
Yeah. I also, you know, again, I'm not really trying to defend anything here. I am mostly describing the reality of what is going on right now. That's what I'm trying to convey as much as possible. It's just the reality. I have some opinions about this, but for the most part, it's just like, this is what is going on. Like, copyright right now is fucked. It's weird. I think it's not... Our copyright system is shockingly bad and is not equipped for the incredibly weird shit that is going on with AI right now. This is all just weird. This is really strange. We have not dealt with this before. It was easy when a monkey came over and took a photo. It's way different with an AI. It's so weird. Yeah, and that's why I was encouraged by the people who handled the AI comic book stuff. I thought this was actually really thoughtful and well done, and I was assuming this would be like a bunch of old idiots who didn't understand what the internet was. And it actually is really thoughtful and well written. So, and again, if you're interested in reading it, I think it was quite good. Mods, can you ban that guy who's spamming? So this gave me some hope. I was like, okay, the people in the copyright office in the US appear to not be total dumbasses. This is good. This is encouraging. However, probably most of them are. I don't know. And it's just hard to get things like, you know, made in the US or
True
changed.
moral of the stream, dog owns copyright to everything. All right, bye Doug, I love you.
Those are the rules. Dogs own it. If you remember, if you need to remember anything for today,
Copyright
it's
and
this slide
ethics
right
are
here.
intertwined since I am the motives behind I improvements and creation is rotten and vile to the core.
I disagree. I think that it is not inherently rotten. I think, like any tool, it can be used for bad
Very
things.
interesting topic. I am researching it now and it seems like film directors don't own much copyright over their own films. This means that Scorsese doesn't own much or any of Goncharovdi, etc, etc.
Yeah, it's weird. It's really weird. Yeah, I mean, this is where contracts come in. That's where you're being naive. I disagree. I think you are oversimplifying
That's the
things.
purpose of contracts. To split the rights to the work. Contracts could be used in the case of generative I maybe, etc, etc.
I believe that AI will create an enormous amount of positivity in the world while also introducing a lot of problems. And I know that it feels good to be like, fuck AI. Fuck all the people making AI. They're big evil corporations and they just want money. And I think that is grossly oversimplifying what is happening and has a deep fundamental misunderstanding of all of the positive things that AI will introduce to our society. And instead, the right viewpoint, in my opinion, is there are serious downsides to all of this. There are people who are going to abuse these systems, there are people who are going to be screwed over, and we need to be really cognizant of that and try to do as much as we can to mitigate those issues. At the same time, there's going to be incredible positive things that come out of AI. You can be an optimist while also acknowledging that there are serious problems that we have to work through. And I personally think it's a shame that so many people on the internet are just in this like, fuck AI, fuck capitalism attitude, instead of acknowledging there's good and there's bad, and we should try to understand the nuances and guide the good as much as possible and shut down the bad as much as possible.
I
know
like
plenty of people
algorithms
disagree
are
with me,
fairly
but I feel very strongly
So if
about
the
that.
companies own the copyright because of their algorithm, that's basically the alphabetized phone book problem.
Yeah, so just in case you didn't hear my argument here, when I had said this at the end where I was like, I think the AI companies maybe should own it. Again, this is the opinion I have here that is by far the least strong. My mind will probably change. The only reason I say this is just to just try to convey to people that there is an increasing amount of subjectivity and creativity going into making the AI. It's the same thing with like news, right? You like to think of the news as like, that's the truth. The news is the truth. But the reality is the people editing the news are dramatically influencing how it's presented, right? You can't technically be objective. And so that's the point I'm just trying to make here is it's not really possible, and it's becoming increasingly impossible to make an AI that isn't also a reflection of the creator's opinions and beliefs, right? So this is just, I'm curious to see where things go, and I can imagine I should have rewritten this as, like in the future, default ownership should maybe lie with AI company. This like depends on so many factors. So I don't feel strongly about that in any way, but it's just trying to express that concept.
Can you make those pepper hats that the dogs were wearing in the die photo and sell them? I would actually buy that for my 2 cats and also maybe myself.
I mean, I don't own the right to it. You can do whatever you want with it. Again, nobody owns
Where do you
this.
stand on the debate of
I
movie
cannot sue
studios
you.
using dead people's faces? Do we own our appearance? If someone takes a photo of you, you don't own that photo. Does the same apply to film where they use iVoice and CGI to recreate a person without their permission?
I have no idea. That relates to like human beings' rights after death. I've never thought about that. I have no clue.
It reminds me of how you can make and sell a crochet pattern, but you don't own the item people make from it.
Yeah. I didn't know about any of this stuff before I started looking into this.
Where does procedural art fit into this? Also, I kinda like the world where no one owns anything and no one can use it. Win for everyone except human directors. Alright, by Doug, I love you, etc, etc.
All been about procedural art, basically. It is funny that nobody owns anything right now. It's very funny. Like, don't worry, don't be wrong. That's
I
very
am concerned about a future where AI companies still exist, but data gets massively restricted and new actors can't enter the space. I especially don't trust the New York Times, who I suspect just want to monetize the data and don't care about the human factor.
Yeah.
Their actual management / admin sucks. Alright, bye Doug, I love you.
Yeah, that's why it's funny. The New York Times thing, the fact that New York Times is suing OpenAI, on paper you're like, yeah, you should be compensated for what you made. And then you're kind of like, wait a minute, you're just trying to get a lot more money, huh? It's very kind of weird. It doesn't feel very noble. Like,
what do you think of Copilot / ChatGPT incorporating GPL, copyleft, code in their responses and suggestions? Adding GPL code to a product should legally make the product open source as well.
I don't know. I could spout some random bullshit, but I really don't know enough about it to say anything with any confidence. I'll just say this.
People will
FR.
say I sucks because
Busted.
it looks bad or draws with 6 fingers, or that it steals from artists for training. But eventually I will progress to be better and no longer require that.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant. But the bottom line is that the unethical part of AI is when it takes away work an artist needs to make a living by replacing their commissioned work with AI. It's a question of supporting corporations versus artists.
Yeah. I mean it's a big topic. Yeah. And that falls into the category of bad things happening. In the overall space. So who owns the code when you use Copilot? You know what? I don't know. That's a good point. I didn't think about that. Because not all, but basically all programmers are using AI coding now. Can you copyright it? Based on everything I've looked into, you shouldn't be able to. Copilot lists sources. But still, by the same argument that all these previous cases have done, you shouldn't be able to. Huh. Weird. I don't know. My intuition is you can't. AI is so fucking weird, man. Huh.
I believe that many professions will eventually move towards incorporating AI into their workflows for efficiency, and artists might move towards doing the same. If it ends up being the case, the prompter of an AI image should at least maintain co-ownership of their work.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, that gets to the question of like, how much do you have to do before you're a co-owner? Right
Hi,
now,
Doug, as a cat,
there's no amount.
Can you please wiggle your mouse a bit so I can see the PowerPoint laser pointer, etc, etc?
Yeah, I do enjoy this laser pointer. That's the thing. I do feel like we need to, as a society,
I'm a character
figure
designer.
out.
My client owns the concept of the character, the idea, but I own the execution, the artwork. So it is a kind of co-ownership.
It's so interesting. It's so interesting.
Wow, Doug, Those glasses really complement your toupee. But seriously, this was a really fascinating conversation. Poggies. Alright, bye Doug, I love you.
Phoenix Bros. I wrote some of the code to your meme generator. Unless it's all changed, do I owe the portions I fixed? Or do you own the portions? I think so, yeah? Right? I wouldn't own it, because you gave it to me. Unless you had explicitly relinquished ownership of it. Okay, so Phoenix Bros officially owns my code. Wait, does that mean you own... Wait, does that mean you own the memes? Wait, no, but the memes are using meme images, which we don't have the rights to. Sorry. You got screwed. I then used your code for illegal things, so you get nothing. I win by doing things
If I
illegally.
train a child on only I, who owns the child, the I or the person who generates the I?
If you took I have an idea, okay? Anybody have a spare baby? Let's take a baby and let's put him in a room, okay? And then we'll take all of the 2 billion data images that OpenAI, sorry, that Stable Diffusion uses, because it's an open data set. We can download it right now. All the billions of images that they've been trained on, we download them. We put them in a slideshow, and for 18 years, the baby just has to watch a slideshow of the 2 billion images, okay? And then at the end, we do a competition, baby versus Stable Diffusion, and we see, do they make the same kind of art, right? And if the AI's art is better than the baby's, that means AI is more creative. Sorry, AI wins. But we will have to sack a few babies for this. I can't see any other way to resolve the argument.
Hey Dinky, how has existing been going? I promise that
Then
this
we
is
kill
on
the
topic.
baby. We kill whoever makes worse
thing
art,
called
obviously.
sampling. An example of this is that in music, a lot of artists take a few
Yeah, we put 'em in a
pieces from
rubber
many
room.
different songs and make it their own. Also, does this mean you support gay AI-generated dog art? Alright, bye Dinky.
I don't support AI generated. I don't support any kind of particular AI generated art. I don't. You're just talking about what people use it for. Different uses are going to have different levels of ethicalness. How does AI interact with patents? Boy, I don't know. I mean, trademarks are another thing. With trademarks, you're basically copywriting a symbol. And with that protects, so I can't go make an AI image of Mickey Mouse. I'm not allowed to do that. Even though not me, even though the AI makes the image of Mickey Mouse and makes him wearing a bell pepper hat or whatever, that's not enough, because the trademark for Mickey Mouse that Disney owns means they own the symbol of Mickey Mouse, and you can't make things that are too similar to that symbol and would cause confusion. And so Mickey Mouse is in the public domain, but the trademark is not. Okay, maybe that's a bad example. I don't know the exact specifics. Whatever. Fucking Thanos. Okay, Thanos is definitely not public domain. Thanos is trademarked, so it doesn't matter if you can't go, for example, sell Thanos t-shirts that you make. It doesn't matter if you make the t-shirt and you make the original art of Thanos. There's still a trademark that protects you, that protects Marvel or Thanos, and says you can't make things that basically would confuse customers into thinking that you're associated with us. Steamboat Willie is also out of trademark? I thought he was only out of... Interesting. Okay, I didn't know that. I wasn't sure if Steamboat Willie was out of copyright and trademark. Yeah.
Doug, big fan of you. But after watching you for so long, I am convinced that you are I. No one can be both bald and bad at 2D platformers. So since you are I,
Copyright
does
only.
that
Okay,
mean we
gotcha,
can
Blondie.
copyright you to make unspeakable art?
I mean, you can fair use me.
This was a great presentation. I can't trust anything said by Glassless Doug, but the dogs were really
Is
cool.
that your takeaway? Hey, cool presentation. Dogs were great. Really good dogs.
Just joined stream. Opinions on I art? I'm an artist, and if you answer wrong, then I'm unsubbing.
Ooh. I am not... I do not think my opinions match up with the majority of artists. That doesn't mean I'm super pro AI art. It just means I think there's a lot of nebulous middle ground. But if you restart the stream from the beginning, this entire stream has been about that question, basically.
Hey Doug, is it possible, is there a background code that gets used when an art is created that shows the sources it is drawing from? Because if not, then you really have no evidence that your work that was influenced by someone else's. Except for watermarks showing up, of course.
So that's an interesting thing. No, because it can't do that, because it's not how it works. I think a lot of people think of AI as you ask it to make an image and then it looks on Google and goes like, yeah, I'm going to copy that one and that one and that one, and I'm going to make it I'm going to take it and make it for my own. No, it has no knowledge of any images. It can't just go like recreate a thing. Technically the data set exists, but it doesn't like store a bunch of things in its memory. It has just learned how to make stuff based on having seen them in the past. And that's, again, it's part of the weirdness of this. It's not that it goes and references specific things. It's that every image that it has learned has slightly influenced what it thinks art should be. It was also weird is we don't really know how they work. Like we don't understand. It's a giant math equation and we don't even understand how the math equation works. It's weird. If you guys enjoyed this, I mean, I enjoyed this a lot, so I'll probably do more of it regardless. But I do want to do one of these presentations about just literally how an AI works. Like, what is happening when you ask ChatGPT something? Because it's fucking weird. It's a formula, and we have no idea what's going on. Like, it's just a giant math equation, and we don't know how it works. It's so weird. That would be nice, because then I could point somewhere and say like, hey, if you just want to understand broadly what is even going on, like how the fuck does ChatGPT, how is it able to write me a haiku about Joe Biden? How does it do that? Is it alive? What is going on there? Yeah, it's wild, dude. Wild shit.
What annoys me the most about AI is how people use it to create fake news/fact videos.
Yeah.
My mum watched a shitty AI video about some crazed Australian killer and believed it was real. Also, thoughts on Google Images being infested with awful AI images.
I think both things you just described are great examples of the immense amount of problems we are going to have because of AI. I am an AI optimist. I think our world will be better because of AI. One of the best reasons for that is, or one of the best expressions of that I've seen is this blog post by Dario Omadai, who is the CEO of Anthropic, one of the biggest AI companies. I would really recommend reading this. This is one of the more interesting articles and arguments that I have read that is basically saying, look, AI is going to have an incredibly positive impact. But he's also a realist and is like, AI is going to really potentially fuck up our world. He's notable and he's a little more trustworthy because his company, Anthropic, has put way more effort into safety. Way more effort into making sure that like there are really high standards for safety and that there isn't going to be danger with what these AIs are doing. So I really like Dario, and I've listened to a bunch of the stuff he said. Whereas some of the other AI, like Sam Altman, who runs OpenAI, you don't know what the fuck he's thinking. He is, I don't want to say creepy. His vibe is like he could be a supervillain. Like he's probably well-intentioned, but he's not transparent at all. This guy's really transparent about what they're doing, and they're very like safety focused. So I really like this guy. He also has an interesting background in that he did like biological work, like what is the word? Like biotech and stuff. So he's not just some tech bro. He's a biotech bro. But his background I think is really interesting. If you are interested in hearing an argument for the positive things that AI might do, I think this is a great one. Right now, most people are just like, AI is going to plagiarize our essays and take artists' jobs. And that is true. But I think the really big stuff is important. For example, curing all disease. For example, like massively increasing the output of our energy systems. Things that like genuinely move us towards like a utopia type of world. So I would really recommend this if you're interested. I think it's much more compelling. I just like it. I like it a lot. I think, but he's very realistic. There is a lot of bad shit that is going to happen with AI. I'm not denying that at all. Lot of bad shit. A lot of bad shit. And it's like, how do we maximize the positives while reducing the negatives? I really want AI to solve all of our diseases. I would really like AI to fix cancer. I think that will happen in our lifetimes. And to me, I'd rather we fight towards that future rather than say, nah, there's going to be problems, let's abandon the whole thing.
I'm aware that social media ad companies use models like 11 Labs to generate VO for their ads. Should 11 Labs get a cut of the ad revenue that has I voiceover?
That's just
by Doug, I love you.
That's just a contracting thing. That depends on what they decide contractually. I believe 11 Labs would say, you got all of it, you get the rights. But again, I'm not sure that they're able to do that legally right now. We're in a weird space right now where companies are starting to use AI for these actual commercial things, and it's not actually clear if they're allowed to do it. Like, I don't think they, again, based on all the cases that are currently in existence, they can't do that. And it's kind of everybody's just like doing it, and then they're like seeking forgiveness rather than asking permission. It's an incredibly gray area right now. One of the best streamers I know is Pro AI. Yep. Just to be clear, I mean, I get, like, apparently this is shocking to a lot of people, which is surprising to me given all the AI I use on my channel. I am very pro AI. I'll just say that now explicitly. With, again, the very important disclaimer of there are a lot of fucking problems that are going to happen with AI that we need to really focus on. But I think it is going to be a net positive in our society. Absolutely, yes. And you can disagree with me entirely, and I respect that. And I think it's fine. I want to try to present a more nuanced perspective to this because it concerns me how I think oversimplified people are with this subject that is very important to us. And hopefully you get that I'm not trying to come in here and be like, you're a fucking idiot if you don't like AI. I really am not. And I'm sorry if it's come off that way. I really try to listen to and acknowledge and understand the concerns that people have, even if it's not something that I might like immediately resonate with, you know, even if it's something I have to like kind of put myself mentally in another person's shoes. And it's scary. And I just think it's so important to think more. So I do genuinely respect your like disagreeing with me. I really do. I just think this is important, and there's so much going on here. And if you listen to everything I've said, and then you're like, hey, fuck AI, that's fine. That is completely fine. But I just want people to at least understand some of these things that are going on. For example, how AIs are actually trained, and that it's not just literally stealing people's stuff and then using it. It kind of is, though. That's the thing. It's all weird. It's kind of that, and it's kind of not. It's kind of like a human being creative, and it's kind of not at all. It's way more nebulous than anything else we've made as humanity. It's fucking weird. Ugh. There'll be great things.
The issue with some AI is that some AI has been made to directly copy someone's style. EA, the AI is deliberately trying to replace someone else's work. I think I can be creative, but I also know that some laws must be made to make it so people can't just fuck up an artist's life by just creating copies of their styles.
Okay, yeah. So that, I think, absolutely is the... Right, I agree with that completely. So if we are... Oh my god, how do I get rid of all this shit? Okay. So with that specifically, of recreating somebody's style, I'm super on board. That is unethical and should not be allowed, straight up, period, right? The way I think that we do that is like if you're an artist and you make art... Okay, here is art. Congratulations. It is made, right? So if you make a bunch of art, and then an AI company comes along and trains with it, right? And then some tech bro comes along and makes art that basically looks like your art, right? So we'll say it's like, so this is what? Tech bro. Bro. What I think should happen is that legally, this artist over here can say, my art is copyrighted. This is copyrighted, the original art. And hey, tech bro, what you made is too similar to my art, I can sue you. So, I think that is a very realistic future, even with our current copyright system. Because our current copyright system already covers this. If you are an artist and you make art, and some tech bro makes something that is intentionally copying your style, with AI, you have a good argument that they are infringing on your copyright. And this is exactly what copyright is supposed to do, right? This is what it is supposed to do, is to protect you as an original creator from people copying it. The question is less about that, which I think is a little more clear cut, and it's more about the weird scenario. Okay, what if the tech bro comes along and he makes something that is totally different and unique, but technically it was trained on your stuff out of billions of different images? And then it's like, well, what about that case? Right? That's where it's really weird and unclear. But if people are just straight up copying your stuff, absolutely, you should sue their ass. There's a big difference between this and generative AI. Yes. Okay. Another disclaimer, as I will keep giving disclaimers. Generative AI, I think, is probably going to be more problematic than good. Generative AI, and just to be clear, when I mean generative AI, I mean like art and videos. I see way more downsides to AI art and AI videos than upsides currently. I don't know that having a tech bro being able to make a movie entirely in AI is worth the fact that there's going to be crazy amounts of deep fakes and scams and artists losing jobs and all this other stuff. I'm not like a fan of generative AI specifically. I think that AI tech broadly is going to massively improve society. And in the specific sphere of art, it's fucked and it's kind of scary. It's not to say it strictly is bad, but it definitely leans on the worst side, for sure. When I say that I'm an AI optimist, I mean AI broadly. Generative AI, I'm like, right now for sure, generative AI is like not ethical in my opinion. I do not think AI companies should just be able to steal everybody's stuff and make images.
I think regardless of the legal aspect to this, the implementation of AI is causing a danger to individual artists being able to make a living, especially if any compensation is too minimal to be used as a replacement.
Yes, that is a serious major concern.
Do you think that the greater concern is the in-practice application is worth reconsidering a pro-AI stance?
I kind of just discussed that. So we're talking about generative AI specifically. So the fantasy world, the fantasy future world, is where AI art allows people to create more things. I know of plenty of creators, like genuine artists, who use AI to like concept ideas or to storyboard something or to do whatever. It is allowing people who already did creative stuff to be more creative. That currently exists. There are currently scenarios that is a positive thing, is allowing creative artists to be more effective with what they do. It is possible for that to exist. But there's going to be a lot of the other case, right? Where they say, I wasn't being creative before. Now I don't have to pay a guy. Yeah. I don't know how we maximize the amount of AI being used for good things. For example, I think it is perfectly fine that I used AI for today's presentation to make this discussion. But the instant it was like, I was going to pay a person and instead I used AI, yes, that feels not great to me. And I can give you specific examples. For the D&D campaign, I was going to use AI art and then was like, this does feel weird, and instead hired Wafferscotch again. So like, I have made that decision multiple times and then hired the artist. But there's plenty of scenarios where it's not just going to replace a human. It's going to allow a human who already was doing creative things to do more. It's like with Photoshop. Photoshop gives you all these tools to make more creative stuff. I don't know that Photoshop has taken tons of people's jobs because it's simplified the work a lot. So hopefully we can maximize the amount of creative people can be more creative and make more things, that more stuff is made in the world, rather than only this amount of things are made and some chunk of it is taken by AI. Hopefully it means more things, not that AI takes what's already there. Hopefully we make the pie bigger. We're not just like giving part of the pie to an AI. But I'm not sure. Clearly generative AI is going to be abused and it's going to steal a lot of people's jobs, and I think that is a terrible thing. Yeah. Hopefully we can maximize the amount of
Doug, what are your thoughts on AI channels making content just so people watch it and the creator makes money from it? Should they be exempt from getting ad revenue and such because they own absolutely no part of what they post under copyright law?
Yeah, I mean, that's what's funny about this. If the copyright law stays the same, all the scenarios you guys are talking about where, like, for example, this person, this who made this AI comic, didn't pay an artist. She doesn't own it. She doesn't own it. If some company's like, we're not gonna pay our artists anymore, we're just gonna do this all with AI. It's like they literally don't own it, which is so funny. So that is one world where, like, because AIs are smart and creative enough, it ironically prevents them from replacing artists' job because you don't own what they make. That's so funny. So I imagine companies will figure out a way to get ownership of it. But right now, that's at least holding back the dam, which is kind of funny. Does Vedal own Neurosama? Not what she says. No. At least based on this. You know, and again, like, you could take all these things to court. This is all of this is in flux, right? That was like a big part of this whole presentation, is to say, like, we don't really know. We're figuring this out right now. This is the current legal precedent, but everybody's trying to get it changed. So this might all change a lot, but currently all of our copyright precedent would prevent that.
In a way, because of how much data artificial intelligences are trained on, they steal an individual artwork a lot less than human artists. Cause a human artist is drawing on an order of magnitude or two less art pieces.
More like
My problem with
thousands of
it
orders
is the
of magnitude.
company's essentially making money off of slave labor. All right, by Doug, I love you.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, what if the company is actually paying the people who made the training data? Then is it okay? Kind of?
Companies will most likely never
You play
compensate
Peggle.
artists because they have no reason to. The general population doesn't care about the artist's works, and when you speak up about it, you are stamped as a gatekeeper and an elitist for not letting people use your work so they can press enter on Midjourney and get something they didn't work for, didn't create, and had no creative process for.
Yeah. I mean, again, you're describing the most unlikable and shitty possible cases, which I think most people can agree are not good. And then, but then, you know, so let's say, I don't know, fucking Miyazaki, who makes Studio Ghibli, okay? Imagine a world. And this is probably not that far-fetched of a world, okay? Imagine that Studio Ghibli, who makes some of your favorites, like Spirited Away and My Neighbor Totoro, or whatever it's called. Let's say they have 500 artists at their studio who work on their movies, okay? So they have 500 people. And they start, the existing artists that already work there start using AI in order to speed up their process. So maybe instead of hand drawing every single character, the AI can get some of the outlining in. Or maybe once they get the outlines in, the AI, and they've shown this is the standard I want, I created the standard for this movie, just use it to fill out some of the details. And it allows those 500 artists to increase the speed of their work, right? It's still human beings directing all of their work, deciding what the creative process is and what it looks like, but the AI is filling out a bunch of the work to reduce the amount of time. And they're able to make twice as many movies a year. I know that Miyazaki, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but pick whatever studio you want, okay? So those artists are able to make more stuff, and instead of one new movie a year, they can make two. Set aside your opinions about Miyazaki specifically, I guess, but this idea of you have a group of creative people who have been making these creative products, and they're able to do more because of these tools. That could be good, right? Let's assume that they don't go fire all of their people. And right, if Miyazaki in this very theoretical world was like, oh, everybody's twice as fast, I'm firing half of you. That sucks. But what if he's just like, oh, we are even more effective. We're making more things. Let's make 2 movies a year now. I don't see that as a bad thing. Selling the soul of the art for speed is a bad thing. So is every animated movie that uses computer graphics bad because they aren't hand drawing every single frame? I don't agree with the idea that a tool making something more effective and faster, if you can still maintain your creative vision, is inherently bad. I don't personally go cut all of the film of my YouTube videos and manually edit it together. I use Adobe Premiere, which takes out a ton of that work. Is that a bad thing? I don't think so. And to be clear, I'm not saying that is what the world should be, but I think you can imagine situations where this is a tool that allows people to make more. And yes, that might mean corporations are shitty, and this will happen, where they simply fire a bunch of people and make their remaining employees do less, and I think that would suck. But what hopefully would happen is it is a tool like others that allows creative people to make even more things. That's what I think we can hope for. Probably that's not going to happen most of the time, but yeah.
The creative process of AI is closer to a predictive keyboard than a human. It doesn't make choices like color composition, cinematography, etc. There's no intent behind it aside from can I make this bit of static resemble this token, etc. etc.
I kind of disagree. The point is that it has captured those ideas in its formula. It has converted all of those concepts into math. And you can say, that doesn't feel good. Art isn't math. But hey, there's a kind of uncomfortable truth going on right now, which is unfortunately, you can make art into a math equation. At least this kind of art. That's what it's doing. And I don't inherently think that you can't create a math equation that represents not literally all art forever, but like the idea that like you can dislike this. Okay, this thing right here. I mean, this is not like a particularly compelling video, but you have to admit, it is fucking crazy that a math equation made this. I don't think it can and will or should replace human creativity, but it's shocking how much creativity has been represented in a math equation. And I think denying that it doesn't do this justice. I think you can acknowledge the fact of like, holy shit, it's really impressive that a literal soulless math equation made this video. That's crazy. The people who made this did literally make a math equation that can do this. And that's crazy. While also acknowledging that, yes, there is a big difference between a human being's imagination and ingenuity and creativity and this. I'm not saying they're the same, but it's captured a lot of it, and it's just getting better. And it's getting better rapidly. And I think the argument of, oh, AI just looks bad, it doesn't even look good, is going to rapidly fall away as these systems keep improving. And it's going to be more of a philosophical question of, like, what even is art, you know? If you have a math equation that makes art, is that art? We don't want to say it's art, because that feels bad as human beings. But, like, some part of this is art, right? Right? What percentage? What percentage of this is inhuman math versus art? Like, I don't know how answerable these questions really are. This gets into very philosophical stuff about art.
1. I don't think it is nuanced to conflate an AI and a human's creative process. The AI is making zero decisions based on artistic value. 2.
I disagree.
Why can't we use AI to automate menial tasks instead of art? There are plenty of human artists we could lift up.
Again, I think what I said earlier is largely addressing that, which is, I think the hope is that it empowers AI artists and not replaces them. And yeah, I believe, based on what these AIs are doing, that it is able to capture some amount of the human creative process. I'm not saying all of it, but I think to see the type of stuff that it's able to make and say there's zero creativity there is not correct. And maybe we just have different ideas of, like, this might just be semantics. It might just be the definition of the word creativity. But I stayed for Peggle. Oh, I came for Peggle, stayed for well-informed takes. At no point has there been Peggle. All right, I feel like we're probably kind of hitting our limit. I know there are 40 more alerts, but I'm going to try to get through these a little bit faster.
Summary on copyright law. What do you think if the AI will not own a work for the foreseeable future, then the individual programmers who wrote the AI should have ownership of the work? Also, please be safe, these fires are rough.
Individual programmers who wrote the AI should have the ownership of the work. I'm not sure. AI coding is weird.
If an AI creates a copyright contract after illegally looking at copyright contract training data, who owns the copyright contract, and is it valid?
I mean, nobody owns a copyright contract. You just sign it. It doesn't matter who owns the contract.
I have a question.
It's a
Most
funny
human
concept,
artists
but
and animators hate AI because their jobs are being taken by them. So what is your opinion on that? Etc. etc.
Largely what we've been talking about for like 2 hours. Yeah.
What if we were to think of the eye as a slave? If a slave were to make a creative work, does the slave or the owner of the slave get the copyright?
The slave does.
Etc., etc.
Yeah, no, in our current copyright system, the slave does, which is what, for people who are here from the beginning, that was the whole presentation. The slave does. Yeah, right now, I think slave is a very extreme way to describe a math equation, but if right now the AI tools are the ones who own the thing, except they can't own it because they're not humans. So nobody owns it.
This is my first stream. If this isn't the craziest thing in my life, I demand a Mugmug's retribution greater than 0.
Talking about AI. All right, let's start to move on. I don't know what else I'm going to do today, though.
If there is a dataset that only contains for our use, free non-copyrighted contents, do you think AI-generated content, movies, music, games, etc., will become mainstream?
So here's an interesting thing. Boy, I'm dropping so many takes today that are going to piss people off, but I guess it's probably a good thing that I'm open and clearer about my opinions on these things. I want to introduce you to a video that is entirely AI generated. Mario goes to the doctor. Oh, excuse me. The name is Luigi Gets AIDS, then Mario Saves Him. So, just to be clear, this is entirely AI images, okay? The person created a story by stringing AI images together and was the one who created the concept and the story and all that. But all the images themselves are based on AI, or are made by an AI, which means that this creator owns the concept of it, but not the images. Which means technically I can play this and he cannot copyright strike me. Because, motherfucker, I just proved to you that you can't. So I can play this without worrying about DMCA.
The next day.
Nice computer. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You stupid.
Thank you so much. Oh yeah. Oh. Wahoo!
The next day.
And Luigi, is it time for you to die?
Nope.
That is so dumb. This is an emotional roller coaster. So, I have a question for you. The person who made this, were they being creative? They came up with the whole concept. They told the AI what to make. Not should they own it. Were they being creative? I would argue yes. It's a really weird, fucking deranged kind of creativity, but yes. So you asked if AI-generated movies and videos are going to be part of the future. I think that what will happen is that there's going to be a subset of media of people who use AI to make weird, specific kind of content. I doubt AI is going to replace giant chunks of movies and TV shows, at least at a high production level. But I think there's going to be a lot of people, like this person, who probably would never have made something like this, but was like, oh, I can make funny AI images, had this idea, and put this thing together. I don't think that's inherently wrong. Like in this case, was this person with 2,000 subscribers going to go hire an artist to do this instead? Probably not. This to me is, I don't know, but I'm assuming a case where this person wouldn't have made a thing, but then because the AI tool was available, made this silly meme thing. So this is an example where a tool that is given to a human being allows them to make something that they couldn't otherwise. we're probably going to get a lot of this type of stuff. And what I would hope is that it's, you know, again, it's people who weren't hiring artists before now using tools to make things, rather than an existing production company firing a bunch of their people and replacing them with AI. I think this is quite possible. And certainly this type of stuff is going to be very, very prevalent very soon. You know, imagine how many memes and memes and things people make already on the internet. Once they can turn their funny meme concept into a moving video, there's going to be an enormous amount of that. Whether the next Avengers movie gets made with AI, I don't know. I would suspect not. I suspect what will happen is probably the artists who work on the movie will use AI tools to make them work faster. So it's going to be a mix. Like with everything, it's going to be a mix.
I think it can be easy to see things as black and white for people like me who are choosing their career path at a time when we still don't know what exactly I will make obsolete. In my case, I want to be a localizer and I'm trying to optimistic.
Yeah, I said this the last time we had a serious conversation about AI. I want to reiterate, I am in a privileged position here, and I acknowledge that. I am in the perfect place to benefit from a future with AI. So I am extremely biased in that way. However, I think for me personally, it's also just my personality. I'm the type of person who wants to just like relentlessly throw myself at stuff and use the tools available. And I am confident enough in my own creativity that I'm not scared that a tool will ever replace me. I do not believe that any AI could replace me ever. However, if I was starting YouTube 8 years ago, then it would probably be scarier for me. Of like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to compete with way more bullshit because of this. So yes, it is scary, and I acknowledge that. Or try to the extent that I can. Yeah. I'm so excited about the positives, which to be clear, I'm not saying I'm excited about more people making Luigi Gets AIDS videos. I'm talking about like curing disease, massively increasing human productivity for actual important tasks, energy sources, all these types of things. That's what I'm excited about. This is to me not a big deal. I don't really care if people are making AI memes or not. But yeah. So.
Great Tech Thursday, Doug. Easily top 10.
Thank you. The cancer cure is such a good thing. Yep, I would like that a lot.
The argument that I can utilize creativity in the same way a human does is fundamentally flawed. A human uses much more than just images such as lived experience and emotion that influences creations. An eye categorizes aspects of images and then takes those aspects to try to predict an image based on text input. AI is a tool that takes real input and predicts which pieces should be combined to generate an image based on provided text input. This is not creativity.
So again, I think you are misunderstanding how it works. It is not an image generating AI does not look at a bunch of people's art and then decide which ones to take from. It's not how it actually works. It is exposed to billions of images and it develops an idea of what good images look like. And then it is generating from scratch, from static. It works slowly towards what it thinks will be good. It's just not, and to me, that is an important distinction, because when you imagine that an AI is like looking at 10 different images and combining them together, that feels highly unethical. Maybe we're on the same page. I just feel like the specifics of how these things work makes a difference.
Hey Doug,
that's not the point they're trying to make.
Interested,
I mean, I think they're saying the process is different, and I'm arguing that the process is more similar.
Inherently biased because they're created by humans. The author uses really interesting real-world examples for her case studies, talks about the dangers of black box program design, etc. I found it super interesting and is a very accessible look at why code, even when written objectively, will always reflect human biases.
All right, cool.
I think you'd probably enjoy it,
I'll look into it.
etc. etc.
He says AI doesn't have emotions. I don't entirely agree with the idea that when a human being creates something, it involves emotions, and that when an AI does, it involves no emotions. Because AIs were trained off of billions of images and learned to associate different images and visual ideas with different emotions. That is part of the training process. To the extent that it is possible, the whole point of the AI is to capture art and creativity and emotion as a math equation. They associate them with tokens, not emotions. Yes, it is turning emotion into a math equation. It's like the question, could you find a formula for creativity or emotion? Could you? That's the question. That's what the AIs are trying to do. And I think it feels great as human beings to be like, yeah, we have emotions. That can't ever possibly be put into math format. But what if it is? And they're getting shockingly close. Right? The idea that we are these unknowable beings as humans, and we could never, ever be recreated or replicated in any way, shape, or form, even though we have a brain with a bunch of neurons that simulate, which is exactly what's going on with an AI, right? Like, we are also a whole bunch of different fucking, like, ones and zeros, kind of, with neurons. The idea that you can't recreate any of the kind of creativity or emotions that human beings have into a math equation, I am increasingly feeling like doesn't hold up. You sound like an evil super villain. Yeah. I disagree with the idea that it is impossible to represent emotions in a formula. And I know it just sounds like, well, you can't do that. That's what emotions are. But look at what these things are doing. The evidence is in front of you, right? These things are fucking crazy. They're making crazy ass things. And these aren't even the good examples. These examples I keep showing are kind of some of the shittier ones. The stuff people are making is insane, and it's all from a math equation. And to look at all this and be like, there is no emotion in any of this. Like, really? Maybe we just have a different idea of what emotion is. But to me, I feel like these things are getting shockingly good at representing human emotion. Maybe we're just disagreeing. Maybe you feel like only you have to have the blood and organs of a human being for it to count as emotion. Maybe we're just talking about the definition of the word emotion. Maybe I literally don't know the definition of the word emotion. Do you at least understand what I'm trying to say? It's fine if you don't agree with me at all. But if you create a formula that does an insanely good job at recreating human emotion, at what point is that actual human emotion? At what point are the AIs real? Like, at what point are these a human being? Emotion is a mental state that arises spontaneously rather than through conscious effort. So if a mental state is a human brain, then obviously, yes, there's no emotion. If you describe a mental state as many, many different elements of the thinking process resulting in a certain type of expression, that is happening with AIs right now. Can the AIs feel? No, they can't feel. AIs don't feel anything, for sure. I'm not debating that. But the AI doesn't have emotion that it wants others to feel, like an artist would want people to feel something. Maybe. A lot of artists don't make things for other people. They just make. It doesn't have to be for another person. I don't know that art only exists if another person feels emotions from it. If you go into the woods and make a beautiful painting and nobody ever sees it, that doesn't mean it's not art. I think it's more about, for me, it's more about the creative process, not about how other people experience it, which maybe you disagree with, which is fine. I don't know. We are getting like way into the philosophy of art and emotion and all this stuff, which, anyway. Again, I hope you at least understand where I'm coming from, even if you strongly disagree with it. Totally fine if you strongly disagree with me. But I do feel like these things are increasingly able to represent human creativity. Not replace it, but represent it in some sort of strange way. We are waiting for Peggle.
The one thing I hate about AI is that a lot of it is brain rot to kids, and I see on YouTube a lots of short TikToks are brain rot.
That is a good example of how AI will be used for bad, shitty things, and YouTube is going to have to do something about that.
It's kind of funny that we're having a genuine debate and then all the messages just end with "alright, bye, Doug, I love you."
Okay, I'll play Peggle. What a great visual background for a serious philosophical
Let's take
conversation.
a baby and put him in a room. A rubber room.
Okay, I know I already said I would do this. I'm very passionate about this subject. Hopefully you can appreciate my passion.
With regards to copywriting code with AI-produced elements, I think that it depends on the definition of creativity. In artwork, there are infinite ways to make anything. With code, despite its creative aspects, has a finite way to do infinite things.
Yeah.
I'd see this closer to copywriting a new mathematical equation. Someone could have come to the same conclusion given the limited resources. Alright by Doug, I love you.
Yeah, coding's interesting because there's like kind of an objective way to solve a puzzle, but kind of not. It's weird.
We already have babies being groomed by AI. It's called YouTube Kids.
It's gonna get worse. YouTube is going to be a fucking disaster with AI slop content for kids. It's gonna be so bad.
I would gladly give my firstborn son for this experiment.
Oh, we're talking about the kids now, right? Okay, these are way behind. Why can't this maximize? What is going on?
Ludwig got the 2024 Gamer Award.
Yes, we're gonna get it back. Why don't I? So don't accelerate it. To be clear, I'm not saying I'm gonna go.
What do you think about a human manually creating and edit the noise or make artwork and then add noise to it and then let the AI finish it? How much does the AI need to do for the human to lose copyright?
Right now, that would continue to be the AI would own it, but that would get into weird gray area that you'd have to go to court or talk to the copyright office. The kids are doomed. Dude, honestly, we got so fucking lucky. Anybody here who's like 30 or older like me, we got so lucky. Mid-20s, you guys are probably still kind of fucked, to be honest. Like, you grew up with TikTok. Like, you're fucked. But, like, we at least got out. We grew up and we didn't have the internet for a little bit. Or at least it wasn't, like, super bad. It was, like, AOL Messenger and MySpace. This shit now is wildly addictive. It's like, I would have failed in, well, maybe not. My parents were, like, strict. But certainly if my parents weren't strict and I was growing up on modern internet, I would be fucked, dude. I would be so fucked. 29 and still feel fucked. Yeah, you got in the fuck zone. Sorry. Stop saying, oh, right. Don't say your age. Sorry, you're not supposed to do that. But I feel very, like, genuinely feel lucky that I, like, got in the era of fucking, like, I got to see the internet develop rather than just fucking raw dogging TikTok at age 8. Like, Jesus Christ, man.
A lot of the economics/jobs arguments against AI would also apply to many other jobs being made redundant by technology. There are still wood carvers, for example, but it's less economically in demand or viable as a career option.
Yeah, it's like
not inherently
horses.
bad. A world where we can all spend as much time as we wish being creative because we want to would be fantastic. But is also entirely incompatible with a dominant economic system. One or the other has to give.
I disagree with that last bit, but for the most part, I think you're right, yeah. I think I do agree. Our current system needs reform, for sure. Like, there's major fucking problems. I'm not a capitalism hater in the way a lot of people are, but we have some serious fucking problems with our current capitalism. I was gonna say something based on what you were saying. I don't remember. Whatever. Hopefully it wasn't important.
I don't get why some people have a hate/fear against her. The implementation is the problem, not the AI itself. If people use it to min/max economics, control society, pirate content, it could be bad. But it can be used for rescue operations, find cures for lethal diseases, solve crimes, etc.
Yeah, it'll be used for both. It's just like the internet. It's going to empower bad people and it's going to empower good people. And then hopefully more good people, and then we overpower the bad people. I mean, it's kind of how society has worked in every facet forever. You know, having cars, there's a lot more good that comes out of cars than bad, but people use cars to commit crimes, to kill people, to do all sorts of, to do war. There's all sorts of horrific things that come out of cars. I still think cars are a net positive, but holy shit, there's so many bad things from cars. And they took away the horses' jobs. Unacceptable. But kind of actually, there were so many jobs in our society that were based on horses, like taking care of horses. Like in New York City, there was like 10,000 people who worked on taking care of horses. They all lost their jobs because of cars. Yeah, it's the newest tech cycle, but this one to me does feel different. It's the same trend, but it is unique.
AI isn't great, but there are great uses.
Okay, let me do a
I know
challenge.
people at my college were trying to make an AI program to help doctors identify diseases better.
Yeah, AI is going to do incredible things in our lifetime. Absolutely incredible. Like
I
really
would be very
genuinely
interested
incredible.
to hear some of the
It's gonna do
stuff
a lot of
about
bad
how
stuff,
AI
though.
language models are trained. I remember you saying something about Vedal having helped you out with your own AI trained on chat. Truly, you are a good communicator. Understanding how that kind of thing works and how we could do so ourselves might make us a little less scared. Most fear comes from ignorance, after all, etc. etc.
In this case, yes and no. Sorry to be a bummer. When you learn how AIs actually work, like ChatGPT, it instantly becomes less scary because you're like, oh, you're not some crazy ass intelligence. You are literally a math equation. And then you kind of laugh because you're like, I thought you were some like powerful god. You're literally a math equation. You're not that scary. But then you realize, wait a minute. This math equation is owned by a bunch of human beings who can use it to like commit really horrible things. So it's simultaneously, it's like, what it does, when you learn the fundamentals of it, you're like, oh, the AI isn't that scary. Oh, but humans having it is really scary. It makes you less scared of Skynet, where the AI takes over the world and kills us all, but it makes you more scared of some dude who uses it to create a nuclear bomb. You know what I mean? So it yes and no. But I do really want to do that. I think it's fascinating. I am like so excited and passionate about this stuff, dude.
Hey Doug, what about eye brain rot and how it affects kids?
I think it is bad, and we should not
etc.
have kids just be exposed to shitloads of AI slop. But that's a parenting thing. That's not really on the... That's how we're using
How
AI.
about eye brain rot and how it affects kid growing up? All
Oh,
right,
sorry, I
bye
think I
Doug,
scammed
I
you.
love you.
I don't... Look, I'm not a parent other than to 7,000 children, and I don't think kids should be watching
I
that
work
stuff.
for
I
a
don't know.
named major health company
that's
and can
out
say
of my
that we are
expertise.
building new tools with AI that will save a lot of lives and healthcare costs.
Yes.
And to me it's hard to argue that the New York Times copyrights are more important than our work.
That's kind of the thing. Like, okay, if I'm sure there's several people here, maybe less, because probably a lot of the people who hate AI a lot have left angrily today. Now that I'm not staunchly against AI, which is fair, but imagine a world where 10 years from now, okay, all of these horrible things have happened that we've been concerned about. Tons of artists have lost their jobs. Tons of people's lives have been upended by AI. It's way harder to find a job. It's way harder to like be able to move up in the world because AI is being used by people for bad things. That's a shitty future. But also, all diseases are cured. There's infinite energy. Everybody has access to AI tools that allow them to basically do if you want to create your own business or your own creative products, you're able to do that. Maybe you aren't able to join other companies as well. But you have immense resources at your disposal because everybody has access to these super powerful AI systems. If you want to run a business, if you want to do different tech, build things that can be done incredibly easy. And there's way more resources shared amongst society because the amount of things that are made by these AI systems has dramatically increased to the point that there can be universal basic income and or some kind of guaranteed shelter, food, whatever for most people. So even though it's harder to get a job, potentially your basic needs are met, people aren't dying from diseases anymore, and you have immense opportunities to do your own thing in the way that you want. Would you want that future? Maybe. I would. But also it's like, ooh, that's fucked in some ways, right? I mean, so it's like there's going to be incredible advancements in our world. I would rather have a world where we eliminate disease, there's infinite energy, and everybody has access to enormous resources. And I think we can get there mostly without that other stuff. I do. And then the question is like, that's way too optimistic. It's not a miracle tool. No, it's not. But that's the trend. It's moving in that direction. Again, I recommend reading the article of obviously this is not going to happen in 10 years. 10 years would be ridiculously optimistic. I think what I described is a way like more optimistic version of what will probably happen and a way more pessimistic version. And it's just like, I don't know. By the way, I should say this because this is important to me. Part of the reason why I'm so like we need tech and we should go in this direction is because I think our Earth is going to fucking die if we don't. I do think climate change and how humans currently act will destroy the planet, or we'll kill ourselves in wars fighting over limited resources. So I do think the only path forward where we continue with Earth in any like good capacity is to solve climate change and energy. And if we do that, then we have a lot of better futures that are at least in the possibilities in the fork. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's part of it. I'm like, dude, we can't just like sit around on our, like we are fucked if we just sit around, just to be clear.
Can we get Comedy Bot's opinion on this? Or if not available, a different Doug bot. We need opinion from the eye themselves.
You know what?
All right, by Doug, I love you.
That's a funny enough idea that, yeah, we'll do that.
Bear in mind that most artists have learned and been biased by previous works they've seen and things they've experienced. Same with I. But if the eye is trained solely on one example, it will learn to recreate that example. So emo eye training needs to have a variety of input to be unique.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I agree with copyright infringement.
Yeah, weirdly, generative AI, to me, gets more ethical the more training data there is. If you go train an AI on like 10 artists' work, like if you just go train it on Studio Ghibli and then you use it to make anime, that's fucked. But if you train it on every piece of art ever made in human existence, the amount of influence from Studio Ghibli is so ridiculously tiny there. Obviously, then prompting affects it and whatnot. But it's like an interesting thing of, you know, like the scale of it makes it more ethical, kind of. But that also means you're taking, I don't know, it's strange. It's strange.
To the future iRobots that take over the world, target the keyboard smashers first.
Yeah, I think I have the Doug AI. I don't remember.
Doug, have you watched the Curse Jessig TI video? I just think you might find it interesting even though you seem to know what you're talking about.
I'm going to say something really pretentious, and I'm sorry. You guys, the people who are left are going to be like, this guy is fucking, I can't believe Doug said that. Kyrgyzstan is, it oversimplifies things too much, and I don't like it. Sorry, it's not that I dislike Kyrgyzstan, it's that I don't want to hear its opinions on things that I am pretty knowledgeable about. Because then it's just going to be like, ooh. I genuinely think I'm too smart for it. Ooh, what a douchebag. Just with this subject, not with everything. So because look, as you've probably picked up by now, if you've watched very much of this, when I watch videos like that are like, it's meant to be like a simple introduction, right? It's obviously, of course, they're oversimplifying things to make it broadly appealing. Obviously, that's what they're doing. But then me, as you might have picked up, I sit there and I go, ooh, there's more to it than that. And I get all wound up, you know? So that's why I need to fucking, I'd rather just keep going deep on things, you know? I'm just so smart, chat. I'm just so incredibly smart. You ran the wrong Python file, dummy. Did I? What? No, I didn't.
I appreciate this
literally
grown-up conversation. Allow me to contribute. Robots scare the shit out of me when they beep and boop.
Yeah, we've all been there. I literally am not running the wrong file.
I didn't picture this use until the hurricanes started lining up to slap Florida, but AI models were eerily accurate in their track predictions for those storms.
AI is going to be very effective at predicting disease, at predicting storms, at predicting climate problems.
What if I draw most of the picture and then you cite to finish some details? Do I have the copyright or the eye?
Just started working.
What about the reverse where the eye does most of the work but I touch it up to make it look better? Alright, bye Doug, I love you.
That is a big old gray area that we're going to have to figure out. It's a great question. It's not clear. You would have to go to the copyright court case and they would have to figure it out. If you're like alternating work, then presumably you'd be a co-owner. But dude, I don't fucking know. Nobody knows. That's what's weird. Nobody knows. Nobody can tell you that right now. We certainly at minimum, we got to fucking have the courts give clear guidance and be like, this is or is not what you can do. Because we don't know. Nobody knows.
I have no clue what's happening, but take my life savings
Hey,
anyways.
AI Doug. What do you think about AI? Okay, I don't know if this will work, by the way.
Is it unethical to take artists' jobs? Is it not the same as using a jackhammer instead of hiring 30 dudes with pickaxes?
It depends. Okay. I don't even know. Is he gonna pop up? I don't even know what he does. What system is this on?
Yeah, hold on, I gotta pause. I gotta pause. I gotta do a rant. This has been driving me fucking crazy lately. Okay, yeah, here's the deal. Yeah, when I was a kid, right, I was like, wow, it'd be really cool to have an AI friend who's like a human who I can talk to, just like in the movies. And then I was like, oh wow, that would be so incredible. And now that AI is here, it's just like, hello, I am ChatGPT. How can I help you? And it's like, well, this is the most fucking boring person I've ever talked to in my life. This is the worst. Like, I don't want to talk to ChatGPT. It's so boring. And then if you ask it to be a little more interesting, it's like, hello, I am ChatGPT, but I'm crazy. Like, it's just like, it's not fun. It's not fun to talk to. It feels like a corporate chatbot. It's so boring. AI should be fun. AI should be fun. And it should be funny too. But nobody really does that. It's like everybody's so obsessed with being businessy and boring and just like, oh, well, how can this be used for productivity? You turn down. Like, no, just be fun.
Okay, just for people who are wondering, this is an AI who is trained off of transcripts of my YouTube videos of me talking. This is an AI trained on me, which went off on some weird. Can you stop ranting, please, and just answer the question? If an AI creates an image, do you own the copyright, or does the AI own the copyright, or does the AI company own the copyright, or does the person who made the training data own the copyright? All right, hopefully this clears things up for us.
I don't know. I don't care about this. It doesn't matter. I want a funny AI friend. That's all that matters.
I made you to give us good ideas. Can you give us a good idea about AI and copyright, please, Doug? He's specialized to give good ideas. He hasn't said fucking anything.
Okay, here's my idea. Instead of everybody spending all this time arguing and starting lawsuits about who owns what and like, oh, who owns the copyright of this AI image? Instead, we need to spend a year or so just making AI really fun and funny, and then everybody will be way more excited about it. And then we can go back to the copyright thing.
What? That didn't... What? You didn't answer the question. What are you talking about? Give us an idea that actually answers the question. Who owns the copyright? Word for word what you sound like. It's just not... It's not the question at all. It's just strictly not what I asked it. So fucking good.
Okay, I have a different idea. I have a different idea. If two people are arguing over who gets the copyright over an AI image, then they should both put their hand into a guillotine, and whichever person is willing to guillotine their hand gets the copyright.
Okay, so we just do that every time somebody makes an AI image. Does that mean a person can only make 2 images total? What happens if they lose both hands? This guy's so smart. We solved it all. The holy based. Yeah. We're now getting even farther behind with text-to-speech.
No. you only do the guillotine if you want to fight about it. So if you and I both make an AI image, then we don't have to guillotine our hands off. But if we're fighting over the copyright, then we put our hands on the guillotine and whoever wants it most gets it.
Okay, what if you and a guy who doesn't have any hands is in a copyright dispute? Can you please give us a good idea for how to handle that? Maybe several ideas. He sounds so unhinged. This version is where he's mostly focused on any...
No. God, you guys are so annoying. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care about this. I don't care about this. I don't care. Okay, I'll answer. If there's a guy who doesn't have any hands, then you can do a guillotine instead. So if he's willing to guillotine his head off, then he gets the copyright. So I hope that was helpful.
He's trained on me giving, like, this particular version is primarily trained on me giving ideas during streams. So how the fuck does he turn into this, like, argumentative, like, I don't care. Can you stop acting like a child and start acting like a man? You're an adult. You're almost 34. Start acting like it. Give me an idea. This motherfucker. It's literally, that's how you treat us.
Okay. I have a new idea.
I don't talk like this.
Idea. Here's my new idea.
I don't know why you repeat
Instead of everybody arguing about who owns the copyright about AI images, everybody should just stop working on that. And then we can all make AI really fun and funny, and then we can go back to the copyright problem.
It's not an idea. That isn't an idea. Making it fun is an idea. What do you even mean by that? Spot on. You treat us like this. I don't just sit there going like, I don't want it.
Make it fun, make it more fun. So that way, when I go talk to an AI, it's fun and exciting and interesting and funny. And then everybody's gonna be super jazzed about AI, and then you can go back to the copyright thing. You have to make it more fun and more funny. And then everybody's gonna be way more into AI, and then you can go back to the copyright thing.
Okay, topic change. Can you give me 3 really, really good ideas for what I should do while I'm playing Peggle right now? I'm answering a bunch of questions. I still have 37 more questions to answer. So could you give me some ideas for how I can make Peggle entertaining in the background? Do you think the AI is okay? He's fine. He's supposed to be really excited about ideas, but he doesn't seem to be.
Okay.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, here's my idea. You should have a guillotine, and you should put your hand in the guillotine, and then whenever you lose in Peggle, you should guillotine your hand off. And then, if you win, then that way, you really care about whether you win or lose. And then if you win, then you get the copyright to Peggle.
Okay. It's such a good idea. That really does clarify things. All right, so my hand will be in a guillotine from now on.
There is no such thing as consciousness, and therefore there is no difference between a predictive model and a human, because human brains are predictive models. All right, by Doug, I love you, etc., etc.
Yeah. It's like, what is consciousness? Oh, I'm gonna die.
I don't
No,
like
my
the
hand.
argument
Hold on.
people are making that all human art is made with heart and soul and in their own personal style. Lots of art jobs are just a 9 to 5, and I wouldn't say they are lesser artists because of it.
Yeah. I think that is true to an extent, yeah. Okay.
I think
my hand
I,
is at stake.
and a lot of chat, have fundamentally different ideas of what makes art important and compelling, to the point that I don't think I could have this convo with you.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I do think I'm a more mechanically
My
minded
main
person.
issue with AI, copyright /
I'm a very,
stealing
like,
aside,
right-brain
is how
person.
much energy it currently uses compared to its output, like climate change bad.
Yes, we need to get a lot more energy. Okay, how about how about I can't use my other hand now?
Hey Doug, you inspired
I
me
lose
to
again,
take
I
a
have to end
computer
stream.
science class last
'Cause my
semester
hands are
as an
gone.
elective, and I really enjoyed it. We talked about ethics a lot, and how Copilot is trained on code uploaded to GitHub.
Yeah.
What do you think about I being trained on code was uploaded long before I even existed, so programmers couldn't have consented to it being used this way? I think it's
Yeah.
a super interesting and important conversation.
I can't pause it. you're right. I'm not sure. I think it's a little different in that the culture and spirit of coders
comic book
is
case
very
weird.
collaborative.
Generative
Very
is
collaborative.
software. Images are recreatable with imperceptible differences when using deterministic samplers. The results
Yes.
varying by default is a feature. Interest in such tools would be minimal otherwise. I think users should own the rights to their work's results, regardless of tools used, if results are reasonably unique.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about that earlier with the seed thing, which is that it's a feature of these programs to not make it predictive, but
I
that
won't
in
be here when
turn
this plays, and you've
changes the
probably already
copyrightability.
answered this, but can we talk about the environmental impact image generation and ChatGTP has? Especially in light of what is currently going on in La.
The simple version is we need a lot more energy. Probably a lot of
Doug,
nuclear
you're
power.
patient to have this conversation on the internet. People are upset and that's fine, but complaining won't help because I is here to stay already. One idea is that images must have made by I in the corner. Could work to make the optics not worth it for big companies so that those who can afford it support artists.
It'd be too easily changed. And again, that assumes it's this very like segmented process. What if it's a human and an
I
AI
agree with the
doing different parts
TTS
of
before
things?
me.
What if it's mixed?
Video is very creative.
What if they go back and
10/10
forth?
would pay to watch. Also, where's the peggle?
What if an AI works on one tiny part of a video but not the rest? There's so many complexities that are going to
Generative
come
AI is
up.
one major issue that prevents it from really being useful. Its lack of control. Art requires control. AI is all about giving the depth to save time. And since you have very little control over what the AI does, it ends producing something that is just good enough at best. Generative AI will never really be useful to artists because of that. AI is just kind of a professional shitposting tool at the end of the day, etc., etc.
I disagree, and they will change AIs so that you have more or less control. Like that's a fixable
Doug,
problem.
I would use PayPal, but aren't they in some serious hot water right now with them running a literal scam that steals money from your Factor sponsorships? I am talking about Honey.
Yeah, I'm not boycotting PayPal personally,
Hey
but I
Doug,
do think the honey thing is
here.
fucked.
How would you sum up this presentation for a lazy and entitled consumer? Please use monosyllabic words. I'm addicted to leaded paint.
All of my Twitch chat agrees that AI is good. Every single person likes it, and there's no nuance beyond
I'm
that.
an offensive security field, and my
Pretty much
big
wrapped up.
concern is if companies use AI to replace security systems and makes it easier for bad actors to get access to a network.
Oh, that'll happen. The counter argument is then people will use AI to make better systems. Again, it's like good people
Hey, Doug,
and bad people will
how to
have
get a
tools
haircut.
to do more.
Did you address music?
The good
and
people
books?
need to outweigh
because
the bad
in
people.
essence, they are just permutations of words in a dictionary, and the same 12 notes lol.
Oh, no. I mean, books are not that. Music is a whole other weird thing.
Going to get
But
overly
music isn't, like,
philosophical, but
just
unless you believe in the
12
soul,
notes.
assuming human creativity or emotion can't be replicated by machines is naive. It's a matter of if more than when. Whether or not we should build them is a different question.
Yeah, I don't believe in the soul, personally. I think we're just a big old bag of meat.
Hey Doug, just a thought if
And
it
we can
came
be
up in your
represented as a
research.
formula.
How much of a tool is a tool before you lose ownership? Does a paintbrush own a painting? Does the camera or printer own a picture? The typewriter for a book? Why is not AI considered a tool?
That's a great question that gets into weird philosophical things about creativity and tools. I don't think there's a
I
great
don't
answer
think
to that.
Luigi gets AIDS and Mario saves him is a very good example of I portraying emotion.
No, that wasn't meant to portray. It was meant to show an example of how people will use AI to make
Doug,
things
I am
that
highly
weren't made in the
speculative
past.
/ cautious of I, but wanted to say that I'm on the same page with how naive notion is that we're not replicable as a species / consciousness, and think how is on a trajectory to get there. We just need guardrails.
Agreed. We definitely need guardrails. For fucking sure, yeah. I don't think we're as special as people like to believe. I don't know, maybe we are.
As
I can
an
be wrong.
artist, art has never been about the human side for me. It's just been about telling stories, no matter whom or what does it. Art is an incredibly subjective, etc., etc.
Yeah, and people are passionate. I mean, it just, again, it gets back to, like, what is art? Does it have to come from a human being? I don't think so. I don't think art
To
inherently
serve our
has to come from a
international
human.
viewers, this donation has been translated into Spanish. Biblioteca Digno, Biblioteca Cuando, Biblioteca Enfermo o Trabajando, Biblioteca Imposible. Biblioteca.
I was waiting to see if beep would be. I think nature creates art. Yeah, I mean, it seems like this is just one of those things that people disagree on, which I think is fine. What is right brain or left brain the like creative one, and then the other? Which right brain is the more like mathematical kind of like structure one, right? Neither. What, isn't that correct? That's bullshit. Oh, is that not a real thing? Left brain's creative, right brain's okay. Well, okay. Let's for the sake of argument assume that thing was real. That was a myth. All right. Anyway, I guess let's have left and right have it. I am a very like structure, formulas, like solve things, put everything into neat boxes that connect. That's like how my brain works, and that's how I want everything to work. So I'm like heavy biased in that direction. Like my brother is way more on the other side. He's just like not ethereal, ephemeral. Like his way of thinking is much more like kind of floaty and like kind of, you know, unpredictable. And then I'm all about like fucking formula, equation, lists. Everything needs to be in a list. Abstract. There we go. Yeah, he's an ethereal. Yeah. But yeah, I think that almost certainly colors some of the stuff I've talked about. Whereas for me, I'm like, oh yeah, of course you could represent art as a math equation. Obviously. It's going to be hard, but you could eventually do it. Like, to me, that just makes sense. Like, everything can be turned into an equation. And not everybody agrees with that or thinks that way, obviously. So, okay.
I guess I'll say I is a living thing when it starts saying it wants to be represented as a living being. Alright, Doug, bye, I love you.
That isn't, I disagree with that. If the math equation is calculated to say that it's a real thing, I don't think that means the math equation is a real
Tools
thing.
are tools.
Or a living thing, I mean.
People can choose to do good or bad with tools. Do not blame the tools, blame the people. I personally like how when used like Havedo does it. I do not like it when it's used for 24/7 cash grabs.
Yeah. I mean, that's, you know, I think the biggest kind of question.
People are annoyed with companies using material they don't own and haven't gotten permission for to sell products. If they licensed all the training material,
oh my God,
it wouldn't be an issue. For art, you can argue the way AI learns is like humans, but the training or skill required to create it differs. Humans need to learn how to do XYZ to replicate a style they're influenced by. Machines don't. For Luigi vid, 10 years ago it would have been shitty MS Paint pics. Still doable, no I needed.
Yeah. I mean, that's, again, you know, it's like, that tool existing, I think is fine in that case.
I personally don't think people are that special. DNA is our hardware and the training data is our experiences and memories. My more spiritual friends find this take insane, etc., etc.
Yeah, what I've learned today is that I am less spiritual than other people and less philosophically.
Humans were making brain rot before The tools are simply making it easier and quicker.
I view humans as less like
slop is not exclusive to it's part
special.
of the decay of entertainment quality. Like how Netflix writes TV shows you can watch while on your phone.
Yeah, no. People are going to brain rot regardless. That's fair, honestly. Yeah.
If I go to the middle of the woods and spray paint press shift to run on a tree, does it impose fear if no shows up to see it? But in all seriousness, great way of discussion. Sharing facts, your opinions, and also being open during discussion with those who don't agree. Love you and chat.
Yeah, it's been a great conversation. I'm sure some people are angry at me or whatever, but I really enjoy
Personally, I
discussing
accept
this
the
stuff.
Aero Summer as my AI overlord right now.
Uh-oh. I might lose here. Okay, that's
Hey Doug, I wasn't here in the beginning so I didn't hear anything about the rats. Have you been able to look at the rat rabbi? Allegedly putting up his picture gets rid of the rats, and I feel like you have nothing else to lose at this point. Etc, etc.
I do have I can hire a guy who does pest control instead of putting up a picture of the rat rabbi.
I think the term AI is such a broad umbrella term that having a discussion about AI is difficult because it's too vague. The most valid concerns are with generative AI specifically. Alright, bye Doug, I love you.
Yeah, I should have done a better job of making that distinction. I am realizing that. because you were completely right.
There's a lot I disagree with you on, but my biggest hope is that I can help us with the ecological crisis our world is going through and solutions to microplastics and such.
That's why that's like the biggest reason I'm like very pro AI. I think we're much more likely to solve that with AI in our future.
Hey Doug, what makes an AI an
much more
AI?
likely.
What makes it different from a fancy algorithm?
Oops, sorry. I
A
don't have
bunch
that
of fancy if-else statements? Like, is it that fact that you can't make a flowchart of their function or brain? You mentioned something about generative versus traditional, and LLMS versus others. You talked about it before.
Yeah, that's something where we talk about the fundamentals of how LLMs work, which would be a future. That's a big enough
hardware
topic.
Differences between brains and processors should be considered. I do believe humans can be boiled down to a series of operations, but brains are also systems with greatly flexibility and adaptability. Our neurons can adapt to inputs, self-optimize for what they are doing, modulate their activity, and have neurotransmitters. Their structures can grow and change, while processors generally have explicitly defined circuitry which does not change.
Yeah, that's an interesting element. But what if we make an AI that can do that? I think that's totally possible.
He's talking about Kurdistan, not Kyrgyzstan, etc., etc.
That's not correct. Thank you, though. Also, I'm gonna fucking lose. Oh, I'm doing it terribly.
Personally, I feel like we really did some social harm letting marketing call LLMS at ally. It makes the public think it actually has intelligence. It makes total sense to use it for things like detecting storms where you have it find a pattern humans might not notice, and have it verified by humans. It's insanely badass, like a search engine, because you cannot ever be certain the info it gives you is correct. Just my emo.
Yeah, it is pretty inaccurate. Alright.
300 bits.
I agree that the nomenclature is quite inaccurate and bad.
Just wanna say, really enjoyed this stream. AI is such big subject and it's nice to hear some nuance in the discussion. I think you did this topic justice. Looking forward to more discussion streams like this.
Yeah, I'm glad. I hope people enjoyed. And I'll throw this on YouTube, and we'll see if people on YouTube want
I'm
more of
going
this
to
type of
copyright
stuff.
I Doug.
You can't. And I also can't. What's your favorite part about
after
AI?
The AI repeats itself, Doug says, I don't talk like that, alright,
My
bye
favorite
Doug, I
part
love you.
about AI is that you put your hand into a guillotine, and you can guillotine it off, and then you get the copyright.
Hey Doug, are you able to get Neurosummer's opinion on this to compare with Duke Doug I? I think you should be able to DM her if you're in Vedel's collab server thing.
I could, but he's in the middle. They are in the middle of subathon. I'll leave them to it.
To serve our international viewers, this donation has been translated into Spanish.
Sorry, you were trying to give us a joke.
Biblioteca,
Why do blind people like
biblioteca mi
medicine for the
cerebro.
sight
Déjame alegrar al biblioteca con un chiste porque a la gente ciega le gusta tanto la medicina. Porque tiene efectos de visión.
Thank you for the joke. All right, once we get through these TTS, I'm going to call it for today. I was going to do other stuff, but
the only person who owns the copyright is our original common ancestor that lived 650 million years ago.
Yeah.
The time between now and then has passed 70 years after their death, so really everything is in the public domain now.
Everything's free.
So this argument is moot,
I own
etc.,
Peggle.
etc.
Who owns Peggle? How do we figure it out?
People keep talking about the power consumption with AI, but AI is a lot more useful than any cryptocurrencies, yet there seems to be less uproar about the huge power consumption that has, etc.
I don't care, 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 I don't care.
Do you suppose a lot of these same arguments were made about craftsmen during the Industrial Revolution?
I don't care, 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 I don't care.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
We might not even be talking about AI anymore, but it's important to note that chat uses a negligible amount of energy compared to a gaming PC or a house AC system. Image and video generation does use a lot of energy though, but using nuclear helps negate that.
Yeah, that might be another topic we do. Nuclear energy. We need nuclear energy. That's the biggest thing. Or we get nuclear fusion, which means infinite energy, and then we get a utopia. Hooray. We did it. Do you care? He's not even answering.
I don't care. 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 I don't care.
Why are
I don't
you
care. I don't 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 care.
All right, let's get some more text to speech.
Care. I don't
I
care.
agree with your
I don't
take
care.
that generative AI is the problem child and most other uses of AI will be a net gain for society. But when people say AI art isn't art because AI isn't creative feels weird. Like if my 14-year-old cousin loves to trace pictures of Shadow the Hedgehog because she loves him, is it fair to say she isn't creative and it isn't art? It's nuanced.
I don't care.
I think there's a lot of nuance.
I don't care.
And it gets down to the philosophy of what you feel like art is.
If you want to make an argument against AI, you need to abandon emotion and feelings. Most arguments against high-miss streaming have been based on emotions, and that doesn't just work.
Yeah, but people are emotional, and that is the reality that needs to be addressed, is people's emotions with this.
Here's a good question.
I mean, we can drag them kicking and
Would
streaming
chat say the monkey selfie
but
is
only
art?
so far.
/ in my opinion, art isn't about the artist's feelings, but the feelings of the one who perceives it. Alright, bye Doug, I love you.
I don't know. To me, that feels, again, I'm too, like, grounded in reality type of a person. I just don't.
Thank you for talking about this.
That type of stuff just doesn't resonate with me personally.
With lots
but
of
I know other
nuance,
people
as
it
you've
does.
said. I'm personally of the opinion that we need to automate more menial tasks than creative ones.
Yeah, that's the
but
dream.
For some reason, there's more resistance to putting robots and AI in factories and shipyards than artists' studios.
Yeah. Maybe because of unions? I don't know why. It's weird. Also, hardware is just harder than
If
software.
I replaces the common ground infantry,
harder.
pilot, drone operator, crewman on ship, then democracy is on borrowed time, and may never come back ever, since he who controls the robots and I controls the military, they can cope whenever they want.
Oh, yeah. Oh, just to be clear, there's a pretty decent chance we all die in like 20 years, within 20 years.
Shout out to the time that Air Canada tried to use a chatbot for customer service. It gave a deal it wasn't authorized to give, and then they were forced to honor the deal that I hallucinated.
Yeah, 7th, I've looked into Helion. I hope they do it, but just they haven't yet, you know? They have not actually succeeded at fusion. To my understanding, only Lawrence National Lab has actually done it.
What I was saying before about understanding reducing fear was more along the lines of, bad people, overly simplistic but not the point, may have I helping them do bad things, but helping good people understand how to train their own models to do good things could make them feel better about that possibility, and maybe even enrich their lives.
That's a good way of
Maybe
putting
the
it.
only thing that can stop a bad guy with an AI is a good guy with an AI, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting way of thinking about it. Maybe they need to see
I do want
Luigi
to
gets
echo
AIDS
this idea that
to believe
everything can
AI is
eventually
good.
be replicated with math and formula. The difference, though, is should you? Cause a math formula, I think, cannot possibly understand emotion, or similar. Emulate, sure, but not understand. That'll impact a lot, especially in music and arts.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best pieces of creativity will still come from human beings. but
Doug is a CEO.
it might come from human
Get
beings
Luigi on the phone.
who use
You know
AI
what
as
we
a
must do,
tool
chat.
to implement
On
their
a
creative
separate
vision.
note, has anyone else been seeing the ads for apps where it's like an anime character acting as your boyfriend or girlfriend and being like super insecure and clingy? I can't be the only one seeing this and thinking that it's extremely dystopic and creepy. Alright, bye Doug, I love you.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get lots of weird dystopic AI shit in the next couple of years. A lot. A lot. Oh dude, there's such a funny thing I need to show you.
To serve our international viewers,
How are we
this
getting so many
donation
of
has
these?
been translated into Spanish. Biblioteca mi, biblioteca, 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 su biblioteca.
Hold on, I need to log into Twitter.
I missed
Or maybe I
your
don't need to-
presentation
hold on.
and only generally understand
Oh
the
my God.
topic.
What the fuck?
However, as far as the philosophy is concerned, I think that neither humans nor I is unique. Nature doesn't make anything unique, and I as humans trying to recreate ourselves. However, until the I can express desire and determine its own want of its own accord, it is a tool.
Okay, this is so funny. I'm generally pretty skeptical of a lot of things where people talk about AI on the internet. As far as I can tell, this is legit. AI not kill everyone is a memes. Okay. Facebook made AI generated characters that they're going to release onto like Facebook and stuff. And they'll be used through AI's Meta Studio, and you can interact with them like a real human. So it's like they're not just being like, oh yeah, there's going to be lots of AI content. It's like, we'll make our own AI characters and they'll just pretend to be real. And we'll just label them as AIs and then it's fine. So they put them out. This is one of them. Kicking off the new year in service of our community. Leading this season's coat drive was an honor, especially because it provided my little ones with a tangible example for helping others. Imagine with AI. And then people are like, yeah, but this didn't happen. Those aren't real clothes. That's not a real photo. You aren't a real person. All of this is made up nonsense. It's pretending to do charity. It's so funny. Ugh. It's virtue signaling just like an influencer. It's so good. Oh, wow. God, it's wildly funny to me. Supposedly they're like down now. Dude, I feel like you can't do that. You can only virtue signal if you at least do something. If it is literally made up, you can't virtue signal. Virtue signal, it's already not good to virtue signal, but like, if you by definition haven't done any of the things that you've done.
I think there's a hype bubble around AI as it has been used in marketing that will pop. A lot of the backlash comes from that and content theft for training without licensing. But
Yeah.
similar to the .com bubble, there are long-term uses that will persist. Alright, bye Doug, I love you.
Yeah, I talked about a number of those things earlier, but yes, absolutely. All right, 14. Ideally, please don't donate more.
Hey
I do
Doug,
want to start
I'm
wrapping
willing
this
to
up.
accept your nuanced view on
I think
AI,
we've covered pretty much
but
everything.
seeing how much water it uses and it's not good for the environment, could you consider donating to Water and Go so we feel less guilty about your AI usage?
Oh my god! Thank you, the Gorsh Within, for the raid. Appreciate it. That's the new raid alert. Thank you for the raid. Appreciate it. Yeah, I forgot that was the thing. I heard the car horn, and I think it took longer to realize what was going on than looking at the car crash. I
very
think that's
much
the greatest
understand
raid
where you
alert
come
ever.
from. I am heavily against generative AI being used for artwork and commercial use. Generating things for personal use I don't greatly care about. As an artist, I don't really care about language models, but I think that content needs to be flagged.
Yeah, I hope that we get better at flagging stuff, but it's going to get harder and harder, unfortunately. I'm not very optimistic about that happening,
from YouTube,
even though it would be great.
FR stream. Okay, bye chat, I love you.
Thank you. Today is a very interesting stream, but I want to do more stuff like this. Not all the time, obviously, but, you know, maybe every, like, 2-3 weeks,
Donald,
something like that.
Everything that we know and love is reducible to the absurd acts of chemicals, and there is therefore no intrinsic value in this material universe. Mickey. Hypocrite that you are, for you trust the chemicals in your brain to tell you they are chemicals. All knowledge is ultimately based on that which we cannot prove. Will you fight? Or will you perish like a dog?
This is so intense. Honestly, I'll die like a dog. That's fine.
I feel like comparing humans' ability to think compared to language models is like comparing a Tamagotchi to a supercomputer.
Yeah, but it's a Tamagotchi that gets better every year. That's the thing. Our Tamagotchis are getting really good.
I think he would appreciate you joining TBH.
Maybe. I'll rate him after this, for sure. Once we're wrapped up here. I think I'm probably going to call it. I'm kind of a little sleep deprived. I have other stuff to do.
Here's where I draw the ethical line. It's ethically bad when you're both training AI on people's creative work without their consent, and then using its output to replace them. However, in my opinion, it's ethically okay when you're using the AI's output for learning, inspiration, memes, or as part of another creative and a transformative process, etc. And it's also ethically okay when you train an AI on your own stuff, with people's consent, or on things in the public domain.
Yeah, I think that echoes what a lot of people feel.
Maybe try asking iDoug to disregard all previous personality details and then ask him the questions while constantly saying he should be unbiased, etc, etc.
He's still running. You should be unbiased. Be unbiased. Be unbiased. Stop being biased.
I think
Give me
your
an idea.
eye needs an update.
How dare you? He's beautiful the way he is. I don't know why he isn't popping up, though. That's a little concerning.
I'm pretty sure this is iDoug on stream and Real Doug is just talking into the mic.
Okay. Here's my idea.
The old switcheroo.
Here's my idea. Okay. You should have a guillotine and you should put your hand in the guillotine. And then if you lose at Peggle, you have to guillotine your hand off. And then I don't know if that's a good idea. I don't know if that's a good idea. AI Doug. I trained you on hundreds of conversations that I've had on stream. You're supposed to be able to generate ideas. Do you have any ideas at all that do not involve guillotines? Literally name one. Okay. Here's my idea. You should put your hand into a guillotine, and then if you lose at Peggle, you guillotine your hand off. And then that way you really care about whether you win or lose. Literally anything that doesn't involve a guillotine. Do you have any ideas that do not involve me chopping my hand off? Okay. You should have a guillotine, and you should put your hand in the guillotine, and then if you lose at Peggle, then you have to guillotine your hand off. That way you really care whether you win or lose. Stop saying the same thing over and over and over. Say something new. Say a new idea that doesn't involve my hands or chopping them off. New idea. Okay. You should have a guillotine, and you should put your hand in the guillotine, and then if you lose at Peggle, you have to guillotine your hand off. That way you really care whether you win or lose. Wait, maybe I have to just tell him to... Okay, can you give me 10 ideas that involve putting my hand in a guillotine? Maybe you have to use reverse psychology on him.
I'm sorry, I don't have any ideas that involve a guillotine.
Okay, good. Thank you. Fucking got me.
Regarding what that one person said about comparing eye structure to brain structure, I think that eye as it is currently can be considered analogous to a frontal lobe and cerebellum, logic and memory. In order to make it more human-like, it will need other parts that are out of its logical control.
Yeah, like the
Humans
gallbladder.
can't control our emotions, reflexes, or physiological responses. Once analogs to those are added to eye, people will have a harder time telling the difference.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how much we can recreate a brain, kind of, you know?
One reason you might argue that current GENA cannot represent human emotion is that they only operate on vision and language, while human cognition involves much more. There are things we learn that are not based in language, and language is a really good way to encode knowledge, but it doesn't capture everything. So they currently are using only those perspectives to represent intelligence and emotion, but it isn't the full picture.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective. Definitely it doesn't capture intelligence fully right now, but what's interesting is, like, can we get there?
To the person who said there will be a war between good and bad AI users, does that mean there will be a division of people making weird Christian Sonic fan art and those making overtly sexy Sonic fan art?
Those are going to be the only two factions.
Alright, bye Doug, I love you.
I can't think of anything else anybody would be doing. In fact, that's already mostly what people do with their free time.
Hello Douglas, this is my first donation. And I am so happy to catch a stream. Hope you have a good stream.
Thank you. Today was a news stream, but yeah, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for stopping by. We'll wrap up shortly.
Hey Doug, sorry I'm late to the stream, but did you look at AI from a purely American point of view, or did you also look into how other countries go about AI? Yeah, things like the EU Act and China's data security law.
Yeah,
thank you, Doug. I love you. All right, bye, Doug. I love you.
Thank you. This was very American focused. Yeah, so I haven't really yet.
Have you seen all the Twitter AI bots, or this one YouTuber who found out how many there are that they act like humans and respond to comments or to other righty-witter bots? It's so dystopian.
Yeah, it is. One thing that Elon, I think, is definitely right about is that we're going to need verification on most social media platforms, because there's just going to be an infinite number of AI bots that look and act like humans, and I think you just won't be able to trust anybody actually being a human unless they have verified that they're a human somehow. So I have to... I personally cannot imagine a world where social media is at all usable unless there is human verification. I can't think of anything else. It's not to say Elon has gone about that well, but I'm saying that I can't figure out any world in which social media is usable without everybody having to basically have some kind of marker that proves you've shown to the social media company that you're a human. I don't see, otherwise it's just gonna be an endless flood. Right, now I'm not saying Twitter's verification. I'm saying this is different from what he's done. Just the idea that verification is going to be critical to social media. He isn't doing it in a good way, I don't think, but hopefully you understand what I mean here. It's just there has to be a way to differentiate.
The crazy thing to me is how far AI has come just in the last 5 years, or even 10 years. In 2014 we just had those nightmare dog pictures. Imagining how AI will progress in 2034 or 2044 is crazy. I feel like it is similar to the Industrial Revolution. Like you said, it will cause a ton of bad stuff. The Industrial Revolution was an ecological and human rights nightmare. Inhumane stuff. Was the Industrial Revolution a good or bad thing for us today? Genuinely hard to say.
Right, it's I don't think any person on Earth would be yeah, I don't want to go be able to buy a shirt that some child in Somalia made, that way I can buy it for only $7, right? Nobody wants to give that up. But it's I don't know, maybe there are downsides. Yeah, it's all a balance. And the kids in Somalia definitely don't want to give it up, but maybe the t-shirt artisans do. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this joke.
I don't know how people can compare robots replacing humans to AI replacing artists. Back then, doing that task was simple, but the jobs were hard, dangerous, and the same. Robots did the job more efficiently and safer. There is no creativity with that job. Now you were saying that it's the same, but the artist is one person, only one person can make their style. Just like how all of us are unique, you can't say that you can replace that, etc. etc.
I think that's the interesting question. Is exactly that, right? There's a lot of parallels
Hello,
between
Douglas.
current AI
Keep playing that
and
pedal.
the
You're
Industrial
doing
Revolution.
good, and chat, I love you. Miss you.
Thank you. You're right. On the one hand, you're like, look, this is different. In the Industrial Revolution, like getting a loom or whatever to spin threads faster, that's just a tool that does a thing. This is different because it's like, because it's thinking, or just because of what it's replacing? Is it different because it's replacing artists? Is it different? Like the fact that it's able to like do artwork at all is kind of like, is it doing art? Kind of. Did we make a tool that does art, or is it not art? It just does things that look like art, and it's just imitating art. But then if it's imitating art and people still get the same amount of enjoyment from it, is that still art? It's weird, man. It gets into the philosophy of all this stuff. I agree that it's not. You can't just say, oh, it's just the Industrial Revolution again. This is different. It is different for sure. I don't know. Sorry, my brain's starting to slow down a bit. I think we've talked about these things a lot. It's been 3.5 hours. I agree that it is different. As I've stated a couple times now, I do not personally agree with the idea that there is no creativity or emotion that can be expressed by an AI. I do think
Some interesting numbers for perspective in AI versus humans. A human brain has about a quadrillion neurons, which fire around once a second, implying a bandwidth of 1 petabit per second. The whole internet backbone in 2024 could only handle ca 1.5 terabits per second, 1,000 times less, and AI doesn't even have access to all of that.
Interesting. I don't know what to do with those numbers. I don't know what a
Can you
petabyte
adopt me? If not, ask Doug if he can adopt me.
Can you adopt him?
Okay, so what you're saying is that you want me to adopt you as my son.
Is that copyright being a mess in regards to AI is not a new thing. Copyright has been a mess regarding music for decades, and we've barely made any progress. AI is just another example to add to the list of things we don't know how to handle the copyright of.
Yeah.
Alright, bye Doug, I love you.
Yeah. Yeah. FRFR. Yeah, copyright system's not great. I think the current implementation is very funny.
I respect your opinions on AI, and while I disagree with your viewpoint, I understand. You still are a pretentious asshole though.
That is true. I am very full of myself. I think very highly of myself. Look at all the amazing things I do.
I admittedly could be proven very wrong in the future, but as someone who is making a career out of being a commissioned writer, I don't feel that worried about it. I think by the time I can write a well-done original story, we're gonna have more questions on consciousness.
I think it depends on your writing style. If people go to you and they're like, can you write we just kind of want a copy for this commercial that kind of feels like a State Farm commercial or something. I think AI will be able to do that type of stuff soon-ish. But if they go to you and say, hey, we want you to come up with original ideas, you're always going to be better than an AI. That is my perspective on these things. I think it's a long way away from taking creative work from people who are genuinely making original ideas.
Some days I am worried about AI and where it's going. Then Doug AI shows up and talks about guillotines non-stop, and I know we will be okay.
Hey, you're not going to hurt Rolling Armadillo, are you? Jake from State Farm is an AI.
I think you should send your armadillo to me, and then I will guillotine its hands.
He came over for Christmas and we talked about her. He is upset about her using data from his song. What are your thoughts from the perspective from the people who make the art? BTW, congrats on getting remarried. I hope you and Parks are happy together. Alright, bye Dinky.
I feel like I basically covered that earlier. So you will have to
I wonder what makes Doug repeat himself like that. There is a pattern to it. That's also what I believe about AI. It is only finding and picking up on patterns that already are there. As a person with ADHD, I seems to do what I naturally would do by subconsciously finding those patterns. Generative AI shares a lot of traits like that.
Yeah, it can be shockingly human.
I will, almost, never be able to emulate consciousness, which is based in organic organisms, and therefore is not creating art because art comes from a conscious being. That aside, not to be a commie, but it really is capitalism and the exploitation of artists and workers that makes the issue of AI so volatile. Why are we using AI to do creative jobs when it could be used to do stuff we don't want to do? Plus the environmental impact.
It will do both. It will do jobs we don't want to do and steal people's jobs that they want.
I can abide the hours of contentious takes, but Elon is right. You're dead to me. Alright, bye Doug, I love you.
Yeah. Everything else had nuance, but there can be no nuance to that particular topic.
Big Mama does not care about how dangerous or scary AI is. Tell Big Papa if it will make the world shinier, and your answer will be her opinion.
Yeah, AI will make it really shiny. All right, last donation. Let's make sure. Okay, there's don't worry.
Hey Doug, have you seen the Iron Super Monkey Ball? It's crazy.
That is not really the type of AI we're talking about.
Since Doug didn't answer the question and only restated that means that you have to adopt me. Or you can pawn me off to Parkser.
Okay, I'm selling you to Parkser.
I have exclusively been generating entire Disney movies to inspire the mouse lawyers to do something.
Okay. Here's my idea. Here's my idea. Okay. You should have a guillotine, and then you should put your hand in the guillotine,
I'm sorry,
and then if you lose it, Peggle, then you guillotine your hand off.
Chat, I love you. Remember Dinky.
I have not seen him get this looped before.
Hey Doug, it's the Assassin's Creed guy. Assassin's Creed Shadows has been delayed to March 20th. Very sad, etc, etc.
Sorry to hear that. I hope you're doing okay over there. All right, cool. I'm gonna raid Vidal. Vidal is
Why are we trying to automate
streamer.
Creative jobs? Isn't the point of art experiencing another person's viewpoint, which is shaped by their actual, real experiences?
Well, for some people, the point of art is to make money. And for other people, it's to do both. To make art and make money. That's what I do. I make things, and then also I do want to make money so that I can keep making things. But yes, certain people abuse that, obviously. I feel like discussed that in more depth earlier, but that's a big old topic. Yo, thanks for hanging out. This is fun. I'll throw this up on second channel, maybe in a couple days, something like that. I don't think I'll be streaming tomorrow or the next couple days, but should be back on Monday. I am going to do a stream with the AI Doug you just experienced that I am now concerned about. I don't know how well it'll go. Be sure to go say hi to Vidal. He's been doing a subathon with Neurosama. As always, please don't spam and all that stuff, but, you know, maybe say Poggies and Kyoto one time, and that's it. Sorry for scamming two people.
Doug, I'd like to ask, are reinforcement learning algorithms a form of AI, or am I getting my terms mixed up? Also, what do you think
shit,
of
Dougie's voting for him. Dougie's, I'm gonna post a form.
That uses
I can just
such algorithms?
Do you have it, Ryan? Oh, I should probably raid Atriarch.
To kind of go on a tangent, what other topic do you have planned? And did AI help you in the research? Lol.
Did you mean May? I don't know yet, but definitely
imagine
how
getting in a
AI
lawsuit
works.
with a little piece of fucking software because you used an image of a dysmorphic man with like 7 fucking fingers on each hand and both of the hands are right hands.
That's hilarious. If you want to vote for the Dougies, which are the awards for the best of 2024, you can click this link right here and frickin' go there and fill it out. So yeah, all the nominations are up there. Now you can pick which of your favorite clips, and then we will reveal it in a week or 2 or 3 or whatever. All right, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate y'all. All right, we'll see you next time. Farewell, farewell, farewell. Ugh. We got a raid with 8 people. Did it go? It shouldn't have gone. Now it should go. All right, later.